真的不好说，好像头部羊被逮着了。
孤雪很难受，哎，孤雪这边是刮掉那个这米洛森第一宝剑，直接拍到了3个。와,
물론 시간이 좀 애매하긴 합니다. 공장마저 못 들어가서 와! 트레이서 끌렸어요.
说了多少遍，不要在会晕的人脸上放技能。
아, 와! 리퍼도 나왔습니다. 너무 깊어요, 그렇죠?
쓰면서 버텼고.
아, 약간 사인이 안 맞았어요. 사인이 안 맞았어요.
덕분에 뉴욕 엑셀시어가 굉장히 무리한.
Alrighty, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A very weird but fun series has just taken place, but now it is time for our final series of the evening, and I think that this one could be just as fun, if not more so. It's going to be the Hangzhou Spark getting ready to go up against the NYXL.
Should be a really good one, I think, on paper. Hangzhou have added QOQ to their roster, and I mean, we're just going to go ahead and talk about their lineup already. Then I mentioned it. Put them up there. Put that roster up there. It's going to be Godsby and Architect for the DPS lineup. So Architect coming back to Hangzhou, always very exciting to see. And there's pre-existing synergy from a team called X6. For those who've been around for a long time, you know, I used to go back to the APAC history and the Contenders Korea history. They used to be a DPS duo together on a really strong team, X6. And Contenders Korea 2018 Season 1 champion, X6. And Architect obviously went to Overwatch League right around that time. And Yushui here for the main tank, but you've got QOQ for flex tank. So starting over Rhea, who's clearly had some health issues. They've kind of announced recently he's taking a little bit of a break. So that explains a lot, because remember we had Sashin in and we were like, okay, this is a little bit strange. Rhea's playing a little bit weird. Sashin took a while to like kind of get into that role. And then they just were like, okay, Sasha's getting better, but like we're just going to import one of the best flex tanks from Korea, from Runaway. QOQ, so he's in now, and then you've got Bebe and IDK for the support line, so nothing crazy there. We'll see how well QOQ does.
Yeah. I mean, let's see how they're going to mesh and everything like that. But on the other side, we have NYXL. We've already seen Haksal start for this squad, and he is starting again, but this time it's going to be alongside Sabiolbi.
Yeah, so remember last time he played with Nene, which ended up being a really, really strong duo.
Yeah.
We saw Nene play the Tracer. We saw a lot of Dive. That was kind of the meta for last week. And now it's, Sabiolbi and Haksal together, so might be seeing some Mei. That's my feeling here with Haksal and with Sabiolbi. It's kind of the Mei Reaper style. Might be a Control exclusive. Mondu is also in, so another pickup for NYXL that we haven't really seen come into the limelight just yet, so Mondu's going to be playing main support with Jonak, and then you've got the rest of your squad as normal. This is going to be a really exciting one because it's like feeling out Mondu a little bit, and how does Haksal work with Sabiolbi, and how does QOQ go in his debut? His Architect been playing a ton. He's obviously traveled back to Korea, had to go through quarantine, so like when you're Architect in this situation, you've left a championship team. You're coming back to work with your old, your old DPS duo, but
your old championship team.
Your old championship team. It feels like in a lot of ways, you're coming back to working with Godsby. You've got to gel with this new team. How much practice was he able to do during quarantine? Quarantining at home, assumedly. Yeah. There's questions about how good Architect will be right now. Nobody has questions about how good his potential is. We've already seen that through Apex, then into Overwatch League. And everybody knows how strong he is, but I don't know. Hangzhou's had a rough start to the season. Like, they haven't performed as well as expectations, were for them, because they had a really similar roster last year, and they had a pretty successful roster last year. So we'll see if these new changes to Hangzhou, they're being very aggressive with changing up their roster, can kind of push them forward. If they're able to take out NYXL, then these upgrades have clearly been a huge success, at least from the outset.
Oh, yeah. I mean, taking that NYXL would be absolutely massive for them. I think that we can have a decent amount of faith in Architect, just given his mechanical prowess as a player, him coming back in with that synergy. But, we had Haksal in a bit of a similar position. He was in Korea, then, joined this new squad and whatnot. And there was a lot of kerfuffle about where he was going to be. So we weren't sure how much practice he had gotten with NYXL, but he gelled immediately with that lineup and alongside Nene. So I think that with the pre-existing synergy, we can expect a strong performance here from Architect. So I'm not at all concerned for his performance. I'm looking more forward to seeing how QOQ is going to be going alongside Gushue in that front line.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these teams. I see the Godsby, I see the Sabiolbi, I see the Architect, I see the Haksal. I'm you say May, I'm hoping that this is just going to be dive straight up.
I hope so too,
Genji
but I don't
Tracer,
think so.
Genji Tracer for these 4 players would just be stunning to watch. Would be an absolute massive throwback. You've got Gushwei who can go there with the Winston. Obviously, there's no Diva right now because of the hero pool to go alongside that dive and offer some protection for the backline. But I would love to see these guys pull that off. I think it would be absolutely phenomenal if that is what we get from the outset. So as we get ready to go into game, we'll have to see what these guys do have prepared for us. We are headed to Busan yet again here for our first map. So we'll see who is going to be able to draw up that first blood, get that first round win, and set the pace.
Yeah, Busan's always a fun map to kind of set that pace on because all 3 map types are pretty different from each other, and we're starting on mecha base, so you know, if we do see the Mei out of Hoxall and the Sabielby Reaper, like I'm kind of predicting, then this is definitely where you're going to see it. Of the 3, this is where it's by far the strongest, and I think there's a lot more flexibility when you go to Sanctuary, where it's a lot more open, downtown, etc. Hoxall does have the Mei locked in here as we have the spawns come through. Mandu playing the Lucio, extremely talented player from Korea, by the way. Very much similar to IDK in terms of his ability to get environmental kills. It's one of the things he's most known for. And he is definitely a player that I think has kind of gone under the radar for a lot of people who don't watch Contenders Korea. And his name, Mandu, means dumplings. Korean dumplings. Very tasty. So just had to add that in.
Hungry from the moment.
And it's Mei Reaper.
It is going to be Mei Reaper. So NYXL coming out the gates with this. We have Godsby on the Ashen, Architect on the Tracer. Oddly enough, you know, not going to be seeing the Zen Bap come through from Hangzhou, or from NYXL. We see that from Hangzhou, but instead Jonak is going to be on the Batiste here with Mandu on that Lucio. Godsby manages to find the first blood on the first round here of that basis. Sabielby will be taken down. No real way to run away. Yeah, Ice Block already going to be forced out here from Hoxall, as is the wall. Discord Orb goes forward onto him, so they get rid of the Mei, they get rid of the Reinhardt. And despite Architect taking a little bit of damage, he will be able to go ahead and recall back after killing Jonak, and the first point lockdown is there for Hangzhou.
You don't really run, there's not a lot of comps where you run the Lucio Batiste together like this, but you need speed boost if you're going to be running the Reinhardt Mei to get into the point faster, and that's why we're seeing NYXL run Mandu on the Lucio in this case, put Jonak over on the Batiste. This is a comp that really struggles to close the distance on Ashe, for example. Well, you know, you need that speed boost, you've got to get in there, but they're getting chunked down super early.
Pulse bomb there gets rid of the immortality field. Jonak quickly cleaned up thereafter. They try to get the freeze here onto QOQ, but it's got so much peel, so much support coming through. Hangzhou Spark just very easily win the fight.
Yeah. And now Hangzhou Spark have control of the choke with the Gravitic Flux. They played a little bit further back on that catwalk earlier instead of controlling the choke because their comp isn't designed to go for big wombo combos. They don't have a Mei, they don't have a Zarya. They have, though, Gravitic Flux, so they can play around this approach now a lot easier. And Hoxall is still so far away from the Blizzard, they don't have Sound Barrier. This is going to be rough for NYXL.
Sound Barrier, a lot of damage going in. Architect manages to get rid of that immortality field from the flank. Amp Matrix is out, helps break down that projected barrier here from QOQ, but he's still occupying the high ground. They have not been able to displace him yet. Sabielby on the Tracer, wrapping around from behind, looking to get a flank. He hasn't been spotted yet.
Yeah.
But have to anticipate that immortality field is going to be ready to go at a moment's notice from IDK. And Mono is already taken down. Now Jonak falling as well. So even with the flank coming through from Sabielby trying to apply some pressure, NYXL is just losing on another front.
I mean, look at QOQ's ult charge. He's already 60% of another Gravitic Flux because they just had a sick angle there.
Massive.
And he's going to eat the pulse.
He's even going to eat the pulse bomb. Sabielby can't get anything done here. QOQ denies him. Fantastic debut for him here on the Hangzhou Spark. Will get frozen for the moment. Transcendence is there from Bebe to help keep him alive. Mandu drops the beat, puts that Sound Barrier shielding out here for the rest of the NYXL squad, but they desperately need to get some picks, and they need them right now. They will find their first as QOQ falls. Bebe falling it shortly thereafter. Sabielby gets up in his grill. Now looks for the finish here onto Godsby, who just doesn't really know which way to look. And as he's turned the other way, distracted by the enemy Tracer, Hoxall manages to get the kill. So NYXL finally are on the board, but not before we see that OT forced out by Hangzhou Spark at 99%.
Yeah, Hangzhou in a really comfortable position. The only thing they're really going to be annoyed about is getting through the choke like I was talking about before, but NYXL had to use a lot of ultimates in that last fight. Blizzard is not available, so they should be able to kind of force their way through. Architect's going to tag the point to try to disrupt that formation. Fortunately, isn't that successful. They still have to kind of slowly work their way through. But once they get into the point, they can Flux, and there it is.
Yeah. Flux does come in, but Sebiobi gets the backline assassination onto Bebe. QQ not going to be able to find anything really with a Flux. Now just trying to survive. Gets that brief stun there onto Mono, knocking him down with the accretion, but the latter half of the fight is very much in the hands of the NYXL. Molember still taking a little bit of damage there on the back end as Hoxall is going to be healing himself up, trying to get that Blizzard online.
Yep, Hoxall in a fantastic position. Once he has that Blizzard, he just gets that right click to finish the last 3% there. They're not going to play the choke, though. They know that if they lose even a single team fight, they just lose the round. So they're going to try to play for the contest Blizzard. They're just trying to slow this down with the Ice Wall you can see coming through. Very conservative strategy here.
Mono nearly getting taken down there. You can hear the Blizzard coming out off screen from Hoxall. Godspeed under some fire. Just going to be throwing the bomb down the way, but he's going to get all the way across the walkway without, coming across anybody at all. So now he's out of line of sight, so he's not even shooting at the members of the NYXL. So they just go ahead, clean up that one. Godspeed will be swapping over onto the McCree here for this last 22% that the NYXL are looking to accrue.
NYXL have both support ultimates coming up here. Sebiobi's got a pulse. They have this choke. Again, they can buy time with an Ice Wall. Look at Mono. If you take the other path, you're at risk of getting knocked off here by Mono. He's just going
trying to get that displacement. He knocks Gushue out into the open. Immortality Field saves him, and Mono nearly gets picked off with the help of that Discord Orb. Does manage to retreat. The sound barrier catches everybody, and QQ is going to be burned down by the Coalescence there from Jonak. Architect dead. Pulse Bomb not going to be able to find anything. Bebe only managing to find Mandu, but they need so much more than that if they want to drag this back into their favor and close out the first round. But NYXL seeming like they have this round turned on its head with Gushue falling. Things keep looking better and better for them. QQ frozen up in the Blizzard that was slapped down onto the point. OT will tick away, and 100-99, NYXL get the first round.
I think NYXL had the superior comp for Mecha Base. Hangzhou Spark's comp that Ashley are running works really well when you have the point controlled and you have that extra distance and you have that ability to poke and chunk down those members that are coming at you. But once NYXL won the point back, they had May. I mean, just to be totally frank, they had May. They had the ability to ice people off, wall them off. They were cutting off the enemy Orisa, Gushue in this case, many times. They were able to threaten the Blizzards. They never really used it in the choke, but they were able to threaten Blizzard. The fact there's a Blizzard there means sometimes you'll see that kinetic grass come out too early when they're trying to go through the choke. You don't have it later. Really smart plays by NYXL overall. Now, we're moving away from Mecha Base, and they're keeping relatively similar composition here. Jonak's going to be, at least in the outset here, on this Moira. So a little bit different from the outset, but it's mostly the same. And this is definitely not the type of map where you have choke point control like you did on Mecha Base. So we'll see how it does here.
All right, well, a couple kills going to be coming through here as Architect gets tagged. Nice block forced by Hoxall on that high ground, but Godspeed's got the snipes. He's prepped on the McCree this time. And it was working a little bit of a treat, but Hotbot, he's able to go ahead and bounce those spears in. Manages to pick him off as he tries to retreat. Cap nearly coming through from NYXL. They force a recall there from Architect and do manage to get the lockdown, but can they maintain control? Sebiobi under some fire, has to use the recall off screen, immediately receives another Discord Orb. Now they'll be shifting over onto Mono as Jonak tries to keep his teammates alive. Holt comes through to get the Flux. They slam them back down, and that's going to be Mono taken down as QQ finds the second kill now onto Hotbot. Very back and forth here, but as the dust settles, you'll see it is very much in favor of the Hangzhou Spark, only losing out on QOQ.
The DPS players for Hangzhou Spark were just uncontested throughout that entire fight and did a massive amount of damage. Jonak's Coalescence was focused more on the front line and the tanks, and he was able to kind of break through there and control the point after he rotated around, he wrapped around, but the support players, or rather the DPS players for Hangzhou Spark, did massive damage. And, I mean, Architect's got another Pulse ready.
Pull in, Pulse goes out, softens him up, and it's actually going to be Jonak the one who gets eliminated first. Godspeed finds a headshot as well onto Hotbot for delaying that gravitic flux that he so desperately wants, which will allow for Bebe to have that Transcendence online.
The Lucio pick here just doesn't really feel like it's adding a whole lot to what NYXL is doing. I'd rather see Immortality Field here. I mean Batiste, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Immortality Field for a lot of more damage mitigation, a lot of staying power. You know, if you can give a May Immortality Field, she could do so much more that she can Ice Block and be survivable. I'm a little bit surprised we're seeing this still.
Wall comes up, trying to deny the sightlines here from that Deadeye. Trying desperately to get the shots off, doesn't manage to do so, and the flashbang will go straight into the Ryan Shield as well, so that doesn't net that much, but Sabiolbi and Mono will both be eliminated. Hoxel with the Blizzard, only able to find the Supercharger from Gushue so far, and it seems like that might be as good as it gets for him. Like tries to drag this one back under control with his damage orb, killing off 2 people. Godsby and Bebe, both eliminated by Jonak. Doesn't matter what characters he's on, he is still getting kills, and he's continuing to do so here in this fight, as well as keep Hot Bus sustained. Coalescence leads to yet another one. He'll finish off Gushue as well. Everyone that has fallen for the Hangzhou Spark in this fight has been Jonak. Now the Immortality Field will join them. Architect as well. This man cannot be stopped. Mono finally takes one away from this guy. A kill steal perhaps. But NYXL, it was looking like that was going to be a lost fight for them, but Jonak brings it back from the brink.
Now, NYXL had to use a lot of ults for that, but Hangzhou Spark committed to several as well. But this is going back to the talk I was having about Batiste earlier. They have Gravitic Flux, and NYXL does not really have any way to shut that down at the moment. So that's the really big, scary ultimate that NYXL is going to have to deal with here. It's like Mono's going to potentially look for a shatter play. And both barriers having to be placed suddenly, it's hard to defend.
Oh,
the flash cancel!
Yeah, tries to get the solo shatter there. Doesn't get flash canceled, but they still do manage to find QOQ and Bebe, so it seems like it might not matter in the long term, but still a micro feels bad moment there for Mono. So it does lose out on that one control tool for the point.
It's the element of surprise, I think, that really, I mean, it was a good reaction there by Godsby, but still, I mean, the rest of the team is kind of cut in half because he's out there alone, and NYXL just kind of drops back down. And they do have Coalescence for this fight, but they don't have that sound barrier that I think they really need in the longer fight here.
Alright, well, they try to catch somebody there with a wall. QOQ just going to be hovering above it. It's the Flux, it's a couple people. It's a very nice mid-air stun there onto Mondu, but there's enough healing to keep him topped up rather quickly. Healing Orb now going out as well. The Hoxel, who has the Blizzard online after one final right click. Godspeed going to be picked off. The Blizzard going to be used. And you can see fruits of NYXL's labors paying off, and Hangzhou Spark cannot make their way over to the point. And despite a very close, I'd say 2 fairly close rounds throughout, NYXL are able to take that one. So they start the series up a win.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I feel like they were playing the better comp on the first map, Mecha Base. The second map, they had some really great plays overall. They were down ultimates, right? They were running the Lucio. They didn't have a sound barrier. Well, if you go back and watch the Gravitic Flux of QOQ, you can watch the insane spread of the NYXL players. Like they all were able to. I think only one player got caught in it in the end. I think it might have been Hotball, but everyone else was able to split away from the Gravitic Flux. They were already kind of pre-split. And you could see in that moment, QOQ is like looking for the place to drop the Flux because it's so hard to find a big group of them. They were just super well prepared for that situation, knowing they didn't have the right ultimates otherwise to just counter it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a really close series, or rather, series of rounds for the first map. Really close start to this series. But NYXL played the more consistent game overall. And I don't even think they necessarily wanted to play that way from the outset because they did start with a Reaper May, but then we saw Sabiolbi on Tracer, Hoxel on the May, through their strongest heroes.
I'm not going to complain. Swapping off the Reaper and having Sabiolbi on his Tracer is always it's always a win in my book.
We always love to see it. So yeah. I'm excited to see how the rest of the series will pan out because I don't think it's going to be one-sided. I still think that Hangzhou can definitely bring this back. I think that compositionally we haven't even seen all that Hangzhou has to offer yet. So let's wait and see.
Yeah. Well, wait and see indeed. Wait for the next map to start is what we're going to be doing now because we're going to go to a quick little break, and when we come back, we'll see if this will be a tight upset at the hands of the Hangzhou Spark or if NYXL can push forward to a 2-0 lead, so stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. With HyperX Fury Memory.
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are just one map into this series between the Hangzhou Spark and the NYXL. And NYXL kind of able to take that one out from underneath of Hangzhou Spark. A very close first round on Mecha Base, and then a little bit more of a lopsided one for the Hangzhou Spark. They're on downtown, so New York, they get to start this series up 1-0.
Yep, we're heading to Gibraltar for our second map. So definitely a map we see a lot of Widowmaker on. On Mecha Base, it was pretty unlikely we were going to see it, and we even saw Ashe anyways from Hangzhou Spark there, but I think this is where we start to see some of the depth of these two rosters in terms of the Widowmaker play. Do they put Sabilby on the Widowmaker? Do they sub Nene in, who's kind of been a Widowmaker player in the past? Those are the questions we're going to answer as we head into this second map, because I think you can't really avoid the Widowmaker here. It's kind of the elephant in the room in the meta. You have to play it right now, even with double shield. So I do see Nene has been subbed in.
Yep, he has been.
The map.
So we will see Sabilby taking a step back. I was going to say if Sabilby is still in, maybe we get the return of his Bastion. But that's something that's kind of been eluding us a bit here in the Overwatch League as of late is that pick. So Nene will be coming through to potentially fill in for that Widowmaker slot. So we'll see exactly where they want to steer the composition. That seems highly likely, but you know, I don't want to grasp at straws. I don't want to overassume. Hangzhou playing with my heart for the moment.
By the way, Mika in for Hangzhou, so that's always exciting to see.
Yeah.
And right now they're obviously on defense first. They have the Architect Godsby insane Genji Tracer duo that's of fame, even though Godsby can play the Genji as well. I was going to ask the question, like, who plays Widowmaker? Is it Godsby Architect? Because both of them are quite good at Widow as well. I would think it would probably be Godsby, but we won't get the answer to that one for a while. Looks like they're going to try to pocket the Genji here for Dragon Blades and also play around the Zarya.
Hoxel showing it, and Mondu has the Mercy, so we might actually be having some Genji v Genji. The question is, does Nene stick with the Symmetra? Because on this map, okay, they're going to teleport across, and then it seems like it's going to be the swap. I was going to say, not necessarily one of the big maps that you see, you know, a TP forward out towards the point, since you don't have that neutral distance of a control point. But we'll just be moving back over onto the Ashe, so they have that mid-range hit scan. Hoxel moving up onto the high ground, just going to be right-clicking, but greeted with a Zarya bubble for the most part. So it doesn't get a whole lot done, but does build up a decent amount of his Dragon Blade, and he's, you know, over twice as much as Architect for the moment.
Yeah, I think that's going to get traded back real quick.
Gets the melee hit, and Architect is trying to assert his dominance. Rez will get off, though. Mondu puts him back into the fight.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit shaky for New York on this outset here. I don't know if... Oh, we're going to have a pause as I go sit on my camera stool. You guys want to know?
Sit on your cat.
No, I'm not going to sit on my cat. My cats aren't allowed to come in here. They can't come in the office because they're knock all my... Like, you guys can't see behind my backdrop, but I have like a million games, like a huge game collection and stuff. They would like knock everything over, ruin it. Yeah. But I have, because of the way the low ceilings in my room are, I can't put my camera like where my monitor is, so I have to non-stop move from where I'm casting. Like, I have a chair set, my normal computer chair is where I cast, and then when we go on camera I have to like scoot over to where the camera is. I think you have a similar situation with your camera as well.
Yeah, I have higher ceilings than you do, so I'm standing, but the camera is just off to the side of my desk, so I can't talk here, and then as we get into the game, I shift over, I walk off camera, I sit down, and then I begin my commentary. But in moments like this, when there's a pause, kind of have to leap up out of the chair, hope that the chair doesn't collide with the stand for the backdrop, and then get in here rather quickly. But yeah, I've got a fairly similar situation as far as like the shelves, but my cat Nova she likes to chew on cords, and obviously that's not good, both for me, this broadcast, and for her health and safety. So there's every time she thinks about coming into my room, I'm staring at her. I'm just like, what are you going to do? Like, which part of the room are you going to go to? Because if she wants to lay underneath my shelf, that's no problem. There's nothing under there. But if she comes anywhere close to the computer, I'm immediately like just kind of kicking her out.
Yeah, my cat's...
I've lost many a mouse to that cat.
My cats have kind of learned eventually, like, don't don't come in this room because like they've like poked their heads in a few times and I've just like yelled at them or been like, that's like the thing I do to my cats because they don't like that. So now even if I leave the door open, like they usually don't come in, but every now and then like one of them will poke their head in and then I just yell at them in Korean and they run away. But yeah, if you guys ever see me like when we have a pause like this or we're going in game or coming out of game, like you see me like reaching down like this or something, you're probably like, what in the world is Wolf doing? It's probably because of my headset cable got tangled on the chair and like I need to move it and like I had to come on camera suddenly so I couldn't fix it in time. So I'm like, oh, this is awkward, but I gotta fix it. It's fun working from home.
It is. It's a big change of pace. Obviously, we'd rather be in front of an audience and whatnot and being right up close and personal with you guys, but COVID. So, this has to work, and so far it's working pretty well. So can't complain too much. It's good to be back home. But guys, seems like this is going to take a little bit of time, so we're going to throw to a quick break, and hopefully when we come back, we'll be straight back into the action. We are back. Not just me. Wolf is here, of course, alongside me. We are back from the break, but we're still working through the technical difficulties. So we get to resume our cat chat, I suppose, Wolf.
Yeah.
So we can keep talking about that. For everybody complaining in the chat, like, why aren't they talking about the game? It's because the map has barely started and there's nothing to talk about. I could say,
yeah.
Oh my god, like Architect's got 45% of his Dragon Blade, Wolf.
Yeah,
I think it's 5 more %. That's halfway there.
Haxal's at 46. He's 1% ahead. And they had a little bit of a trade action there. Huxel getting really aggressive and getting the extra ult charge. And then I was like, right before it happened, I was like, I think that's going to get traded back, though, because he was way out there. And obviously they then killed him and punished him. But let's not talk about the game, because we might even have that restarted, because we're trying to figure out what the issue is right now.
Yeah.
It might be going back to the beginning of that map, since this apparently big issue, which we don't know exactly what it is just yet, happened so early in the map that it may just be replayed. So
yeah,
I don't know. I can't.
We're waiting for
I can't
an
promise
update.
anything.
But
yeah,
we'll
cats are
have to see
great.
what happens. Cats are
This
great.
is the time of year, though. I mean, you have one cat. I have 4. This is the time of year. Yeah, this is the time of year where the shedding starts, and right now my vacuum broke like very shortly after I got back to Korea.
That's a problem.
So yeah, I've been like sweeping cat hair, and I know even like the thought of that, like if you think about sweeping cat hair, sounds terrible, but yeah, that's there's been a little bit of that going on in my house. I've got a little morning routine where I gotta sweep the cat hair, and then I gotta change the litter box. I have 4 cats, so you have to change every day. Sometimes I do it twice a day because, cats ate a lot that day or whatever. I don't know. What do you want me to say? But it's been like a fun reunion. That's the word. Yeah, that's the way to put reuniting into a noun. Yeah, it's been a fun reunion of me and the cats. But the shedding around this time of year is very,
Yeah. Welcome home. Now clean up all of this mess that we're creating. Is basically how it goes. Yeah, that is definitely nice in having only one cat. I mean, I've been thinking about, potentially getting another one. My only concern is how Nova would react to introducing another cat into the house. That's why, I would love to have a dog, because eventually, as the dog grows, it's just going to be so big that Nova kind of has to just deal with it being there. And she can't. I mean, she could still, hiss at it. Of course, you see videos of dogs being scared of the cats that they live with and stuff like that. But she's very much a loner when it comes down to cats. Even since she was a kitten, we tried to have a kitten play date. The one time when she was just maybe 12 weeks old, and she was just like, I want nothing to do with this. Get that cat out of the house. I'm just like, okay, no, I guess this isn't gonna happen. But it's all right. She's great in her own, by herself. So, and it's much less mess comparatively that I have to deal with.
She's 3 years old, right? Or 4 years old?
4 years old. Yeah, just over 4 years old.
She's just too old to where I feel like she's not old, but she's not young enough to where I feel like if you brought a puppy into the house, she'd be she'd get used to it quickly and then be cool with it, because that's, I think, usually the best way to have cat dog relations is when they're both young, they become friends, and then there's no issues there and they get along really well. But sometimes if there's a huge age gap, even sometimes dogs really dislike we bring a cat into the house if the dog is too old, because it's hard. It's hard to. It's not it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but it's just hard to introduce anything into anybody's life. Even if not even just cats and dogs, but humans. You reach a certain point in your life, it's harder to learn languages because you're doing too many things and you're older and your mind's not as sharp, and I don't know, you get set in your ways. Nova, might be hard to get I mean, it's not it's impossible for you to get a dog, right? But it might be.
Well, it is right now.
It might be trickier. Yeah, right now, sure. But it might be trickier, because she is older. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to shut down your dog dreams or anything, but.
No, it's okay. I know you. I know you respect the dog dream. That would be a future thing in a different apartment. Maybe when I'm not renting anymore. Hopefully there's a time where I'm not renting anymore. Fingers crossed.
Right. We're all hoping for that one day.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't quite hear production. Could you? Okay, never mind. I heard them now. We're going to go to another break, guys.
Yes.
And when we come back, hopefully we'll have a conclusion to this tech kerfuffle, and we'll see what's going on. So stick with us. We'll be back in just a few. everything potentially taken care of. So we should be jumping back into the game momentarily, guys. So rejoice.
Yep. And it's not going to be a regame or anything like that. We're going straight back to where we were before. So looks like the issue has been resolved, whatever it was. So thank you guys for your patience and for dealing with Achilles and I talking about our feline friends during that moment.
I mean, I feel like that's a good thing, is for us to get to talk about that. You know, I enjoy talking about my cat, and I feel like people like cats overall, so it should be a win-win situation on both sides. But it seems like we are going to go ahead and unpause the game, so let's step back over here to the old PC and take a look at the action and see what is going to be transpiring. Mono going to be falling low, and you can see that Nene swapped over onto the Torbjorn.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help mitigate a lot of the damage coming through from the dive for Hangzhou Spark, and the only downside to it is it's going to also like help QOQ get free energy in a lot of these moments. So, you know, there's ups and downs to it for sure, but he hasn't accomplished much with it just yet.
Ooh, Hawkstall falling low, but Architect not in a position to chase forward to try and confirm that kill, so he does get spammed back up rather quickly. Hawkstall still going to be 23% away from having that Dragon Blade online. Jonak standing by with the Nano boost. He will go ahead here. Architect drawing his out first. He's on the hunt. He manages to find Nene, looking for a little bit more. Gets stunned up, dashes through, falls low, and will be eliminated. Hanpa able to find that kill, but it's the cost of both Jonak and Nene. Rez comes through from Mandu, but Rez is there from Mika. They bring Architect back into the mix, and Hanpa falls shortly thereafter. So this is still going to be a strong hold by the Hangzhou Spark. So chaotic for sure, but they're still holding that car. It's actually still rolling back here in the underpass, the car wash, whatever you'd like to call it.
Yep. Hey, Jonak's got a nano boost available here for Hawkstall as soon as they want to hit that go button. Doesn't have a great angle just yet to hit where Bebe is, but I think that's going to be the main target. He's going to try to dash up and then hit that. He's got to, you know, get around this corner first. He doesn't have a ton of vision, so they're playing it slow.
There's the Flux coming through. Barely managed to get the catch there on a Gushway, but will it matter? Have to wait and find out. The Nano Boost has been drawn out. Manages to find one onto QOQ. The solo grab will lock Hawks on place, ensuring that he cannot get any further kills with that ult combo. So he'll just dive down into the car wash and try to get that car rolling. Architect, in the meantime, dashes through, manages to find Hotba. Mono gets a nice juggle there onto Bebe, who did not have a sleep dart available to try and shut him down and save his life. Cart still only steadily rolling forward with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Hotba's just going to be swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball now to roll through. Get up here with the rest of the team.
It's a slow push, but it's a push, right? And as soon as NYXL gets through this underpass, that's when they're going to really have this big fight to work against, and they're going to have this Molten Core they can use on top of the point to help stop that stall out. So now he's got to be patient with this one, but I think it's going to be their biggest tool. Another blade.
Go ahead, overload, drops down some lava, but Architect is not going to get finished off by that one. Dashes down, gets rid of Jonak, got rid of that turret. Hawkstall gets finished off by Bebe, so this is still looking very much like a potential full hold here at the hands of the Hangzhou Spark. They have very limited ults to work with. Pulse Bomb going to be one of them, but you know, NYXL, they're in more severe, more dire straits comparatively. They have nothing.
I mean, Nene swaps over to the Tracer. His Molten Core was completely useless. You know, he died, you know, essentially as using it. They're going to have a Nano Boost, but no Blade just yet. It's not going to be ready in time. So New York really playing with not a lot of tools here. Nano Boost probably just going to be for Mono at this point. No, Nene's found. Could be that full hold you were talking about. There's the Nano.
Primal Rage now available from Gushway already as Goomba stopped Jonak out of existence. Then goes ahead, gets that kill on the Hawkstall as well. Mono taken down by Godsby, and Gushway is just desperately trying to track down a Tracer here. Takes him low, but he's just keeping Nene occupied, ensuring that Bebe and Mika can survive. Jumps back over to the cart, will finally finish him off, and the OT will bleed away. No one else able to tag in. Hangzhou Spark looking like they might just be able to tie us up, barring a fuller hold at the hands of the NYXL, but already stopping them that hard on Gibraltar is a statement.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really nice composition too. Like, it makes it really hard to kill Architect when you've got the bubble to protect him, and they also held the Mercy for longer. Mika with a very strong Mercy start. I know that a lot of people try to say, well, Mercy's not that hard. Have you seen what some of these top Mercy Overwatch League players have done? He's also, I think, you know, people always think Hangzhou Spark. Most people know this as well. It's a mostly Korean roster, has been like a full Korean roster for the most part outside of Gushway. And, you know, we had Crystal last year. But Mika is a Chinese player coming to this as well, so communication with Architect, who's also just recently joined the roster, you would think might be a little bit difficult because you've got a Chinese player talking to a Korean player. They haven't had a ton of time to build that synergy. Mika hasn't played that much. I think this is actually his first, unless I'm remembering wrong, like his first Overwatch League game. Like it's his debut, and he's playing very well at the start. So, just want to say, like, despite, I mean, not despite, but actually in addition to the really crazy full hold, we have to talk about like how QQ is playing for this roster for the first time. He's in his OWL debut. Mika's playing on a mostly Korean roster, his debut, and it's a crazy dive game. So a lot going on. Hangzhou staying cool under the pressure. On paper, in theory, very short distance to push here. Hangzhou Spark probably feeling like all they have to do is cross the finish line here to get that tied up halftime.
Well, we do again get that Genji v Genji. Gonsby going to be moving over onto the Tracer with Nene sticking it through on the Ashe. Wants to be able to maintain that high ground. The Bob in to help occupy the cart a bit, would seem. Dynamite connection there. Is Hopbot going to be antied?
Yeah, that was a really aggressive rotation there from Architect, but his deflection timing was good. This is not the Genji buff patch, by the way, just to remind everyone. This is not the live patch.
Yep.
So, old
So
Genji.
expect more of this in a bit when we get that patch moved into
Oh,
the
no
Overwatch
doubt.
League. So I'm excited. But
Well,
for
his
now,
card is
Architect-
just rolling, man.
Yeah, he's pushing ahead of Hawksall as far as that charge is concerned. See Mika just going to be dipping back, moves back over here, gets line of sight on the Gushway, pockets him back through. Mika going to be having that Valkyrie online very shortly. Doing a lot more healing compared to Mondu. The one saving grace realistically here for NYXL is that QOQ has not gotten that much charge. We'll see. That's going to be the nano boost toss.
Godspeed just going to walk it in.
Rolling forward. Is anybody going to tag onto this one? It's just gliding forward. They finally contest it. Mono stopping it just 2 meters away. Almost got that back cap coming through so dangerously close. NYXL. They are now getting cleaned up. Yeah, Hotbot and Mono, the two that they needed to stay on the cart, get finished off. So Hangzhou just able to push that one forward, but so much free space bought by Godspeed, just cheekily moving the cart up the ramp. Unreal.
I mean, it's
What a
hard
conclusion.
to really. It's really hard to like analyze this map deeply because everybody knows there was a crazy long pause, right? Like the pause itself was probably like 5 times longer than the actual gameplay of that map, just because it was a really big issue. So that probably really messed with the comp and the synergy and the way that NYXL wanted to run their attack, like to a certain extent. But then on the defense, like, you know, they had to defend really hard and they had to take some crazy risks with the play they were the plays they were trying to make happen. Dive. So that makes things harder. I don't want to go as far as to say that map wasn't fair or anything like that, but it was kind of a weird one for a lot of reasons. And for NYXL, you're not going to be happy with how that went, but some factors are obviously out of your control. But the big takeaway for me is just like, look at Hangzhou Spark with this new roster. Are they dominating New York? Are they crushing them? No. But I think we could look at and say, that's pretty impressive with such little time. It's a good start here with this lineup.
It is. Well, we can only talk so much right now. We're going to take a deeper dive into things when we come back, because we do have our game break and, of course, our crunch time coming up. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll go ahead and unpack these first 2 maps as we are tied up 1-1.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Zip Chair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, and welcome back. It is time for our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And already a very interesting series on our hands here, Wolf. We are tied up 1-1 in the half. Hangzhou Spark getting that full hold there on NYXL.
Yeah, I mean, crazy first, or crazy, like, second map. I wasn't going to say first map. I mean to say crazy first point hold there. There was a lot of craziness with Genji v Genji, and Haxal's Genji and Architect's Genji are really different, but I don't want to talk about that until you give me the cue to talk about that, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I got you covered. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for Crunch Time, presented by Cheez-It Grooves. So, Wolf, continue with your train of thought.
So I wanted to just talk about Genji v Genji because in Haxal's Genji play, he's a very strong Genji player, but he's very much a Dragon Blade Genji player. Like, a lot of his value comes from insane Dragon Blades. So when they weren't, running the Mercy with him anymore, and he had to be like very greedy to get his Dragon Blades, I think he struggled a lot because he wasn't pocketed and there wasn't a lot of time to work with there, so he had to take insane risks. He was shut down every turn. Who Are You, who's another NYXL player and one of Haxal's rivals for all time on Genji, is a much more all-rounded Genji and is very famous for hitting like headshots with shurikens and being extremely deadly outside of Dragon Blades. And Architect played a more well-rounded Genji in this case, but like Who Are You, and just kind of outdid Haxal. But Haxal was put under an insane amount of pressure because of the pause, because of the small time bank they had to work with, obviously, on their the defense. Like, they're the small distance, rather, not the small time bank, the small distance that Hangzhou only had to go so far. So yeah, I think that the bottom line here is the difference in Genji styles and the extra pressure put onto Haxal kind of made him look weaker in that moment. I think if we had a more fleshed out game or like a real Gibraltar map that went the distance, it would have been a lot more fun, a lot more exciting. So I hope we get to see that moving forward if we're going to see more Genji. And I think we will. I hope so, and I think we will.
It seems like these teams are a little bit set in their ways right now with what they want to play, and I'm not gonna stop them. If they want to play the Genji, if they want to play the Tracer, I am, open arms, ready for it. These are two legendary Genji players going up against each other, backed by, some of the best Tracers in the world, whether it's Nene or Sabiolbi, who's playing for the side of NYXL. Godsby has always been right up there, taking over after, we talk about he and Architect as teammates, but prior to that, he had Time Boy. Time Boy was his Tracer in that duo. But, yeah, he's taken the reins, and he himself is fantastic in that role as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of the same, but I'm also hoping that for the sake of these teams that they can adapt and overcome and give us a very competitive series. I don't want to, see too many of these full holds or giving up, a very large percentage of the distance that the cart needs to roll to a back cap. I want to see people tighten things up and just have truly just tight-knit combative play between these two squads. So hopefully the latter half of this series is going to deliver on that, and we're going to find out. Thank you guys for watching our Crunch Time and our game break here, but we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we will find out who is going to be the winner of this series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are here after the halftime break, tied up 1-1. Hangzhou Spark able to get a victory on Watchpoint Gibraltar. So keeping things nice and tight-knit between these two squads. NYXL going to be looking to bounce back after being full held, and we'll see how they're going to manage to do that as we get ready to dive into... I can't do words.
We can
right
jive
now.
in. We can jive in.
We're going to jive in to King's Row.
I'm excited.
The Chengdu series just annihilated my brain a little bit, so...
Well, that last map in the
recovery
Chengdu
process.
series definitely, I think, got everybody a little bit, there.
Frazzled?
If I'm honest, yeah. I think we can understand you, but we're heading into King's Row now. In terms of substitutions, we do have Mika out. Great debut from him. Really helped Architect have a lot of the success we saw from him there. I think it's more of a Genji playstyle difference between Architect and Haksal, but still Mika being a big part of that.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to see Hangzhou's upgraded roster, not only with QOQ, but also with Architect, and then Mika coming in as well and helping them take their first win of the series. Pretty cool stuff. We talked about Haksal a lot in that first map about how he's a Dragon Blade type Genji player. I mean, his playstyle is to farm blades quickly, often pocketed by a Mercy, and then to have high value Dragon Blades. Just wasn't able to make that happen. And as we head into King's Row, Nene stays in, so no changes on the New York side. Obviously, Anamo's in over.
Yeah, we do have Anamo.
Yeah. But I think we're not going to be seeing the Genji that we saw previously from the squad, was what I was kind of alluding to with that.
Sure.
2, 1.
Seems likely, but there's still plenty of time left here. NYXL, of course, first on the defense here. Hangzhou Spark. Peeing around the side through the theaters. Godspeed will be swapping back over onto the Ash.
Architect
Dropping down. It's going to look to drag them.
Yep.
See how much they want to surrender here. Dashes away as the halt comes through. Keeps himself safe. Halfway to a tick, but then does get forced back. So NYXL not having to drop down off their perch quite yet. But this does allow for Hangzhou Spark to wrap around through the hotel. Bit of a crossfire coming through as they have Nene up on the high ground. Architect trying to weave his way into the back of the tank line to build up with that pulse bomb. Already at 53% discorded those who will be tracked for a little bit longer. As that orb will go over to QOQ now. One tick going to be snatched up for Hangzhou. NYXL eventually going to have to commit down onto the point here.
Yeah, they really need to
go for that though. Find Gushui, so maybe that's going to be enough for them to maintain this high ground control. Architect pushing through, throws the pulse bomb out, and Namo just can't get around the other side of that barrier in time, it would seem. Does get taken out. Big pick off now for Architect as they go straight back into the fight. They built up 60% so far. He falls low, doesn't have that recall quite yet. We'll go ahead and get top back up as Jonak finds one.
Yeah, he obliterates QQ, discords him, and then just headshots him repeatedly, left click, taking him out. Now, Gushui here on the point, but I don't know if he really has the staying power to stick with this one, and I think they're going to have to regroup and set for another push. Jonak.
Fully unintentional, but it's still very funny to me.
Jonak actually doing way more damage in this setup than Bebe, and actually kind of saving the day with that pick. He's going to have trance. So New York had a rough time trying to transition from high ground to low ground to stop the cap there, but they're in a really phenomenal position ult-wise now with Blizzard coming up here too. They have the high ground back controlled, and I really think they're going to have a hard time losing this fight.
Okay, well, Bomb going to be initiated here by Godspeed. Tosses that one out first. Tips away, and Godspeed finds the shots there onto Anama. Take him down. Looks like he had moved out of the Immortality Foot, or he had lobbed that over towards somebody else to try to keep them alive. Either way, he is gone, as is Nene. As Architect is here on the high ground. 6 HP remaining, though. As Jonak strikes back, tries to get that kill. Transcendence now going to be coming through. Hotbutt uses his flux. There's a couple people with it, it would seem, inside the hotel. The Pulse Bomb will get to Jonak and
he takes him up!
Stuck together. Jonak still manages to find IDK before he gets exploded. But it seems like Hangzhou Spark can push forward and really entrench themselves now on point A, because New York have to push back through this archway. Hoxall does manage to find Architect, however, the Dynamite will burn down Guangzhou. So just like that, NYXL turning the fight around and re-grabbing control.
Such a close fight. I mean, NYXL has spawned disadvantage. They have to walk a lot further back to the point. So Architect almost just stole AOA with that triple kill there. The Pulse Bomb double into that final blow onto Mono. But they're not able to do it. Hoxall takes him out with a right click, and we're back to square
really
one.
Good pull. Almost kill off Godspeed, but projected barrier comes through from QOQ to keep everybody alive. Dynamite catching a couple members there. Will help build up towards that next Bob. No ultimates here for NYXL. Close to a Blizzard is Hoxall, still needs 24%. Whereas Hangzhou Spark, they have plenty to work with here. Mono already going to be eliminated. Stun out of the flux there onto QOQ. Inside this corridor, Transcendent's going to be popped by Baby to help keep IDK and his tank line alive as they push forward and shove NYXL off the point. Bob, for good measure, will go through, but points already going to be capped. But a very nice time by here for NYXL. They're going to be starting around 2.5 minutes as the card still has to come out of the garage.
Yeah, they got Bebe's trance too in that fight because Nene's Dynamite was so good that a lot of those Hangzhou players were actually going to die if the trance didn't get used. So, you know, that's another great thing you've taken away from NYXL and, or excuse me, away from Hangzhou Spark as NYXL. And, you know, New York wanted the full hold. Obviously, you always do, but ooh, look at that.
Okay.
But I was just going to say, like,
Jonak's not used to.
Yeah. In closing, though, I mean, New York is definitely could be a lot worse. They've got a great amount of ultimates to utilize here to hold this B push around the corner. Not the trance for that exact moment, but Architect is popping off.
Okay, well, IDK just goes ahead, tosses in, and QOQ takes away Hoxall's Blizzard. Eats it with a kinetic grasp. That is absolutely massive. That was the big ultimate that NYXL had at their disposal, and they completely lose it. QOQ has been phenomenal so far for the Hangzhou Spark, and you see Jonak barely able to trade back 2 HP remaining as that barrier saved his life.
Yeah,
but the card will be rolling into point B. Nothing that NYXL can do to stop that. So back up now to just shy of 3 minutes or the Hangzhou Spark for the final stretch of King's Row.
Jonak, you know, it does win that small fight there, but the war is lost. Again, Hangzhou Spark making the crazy plays, the absorb on Hoxall's Blizzard. You're running a comp like this for the Blizzard, essentially, you know, especially against what Hangzhou's running. You're not winning any poke wars against Ash as the May here, is you're going to have a lot of problems, but that's a huge eat from QOQ, who's had a great debut tonight. And things are looking up and up here for Hangzhou Spark right now as the cart keeps rolling.
Yep, Hoxall barely being kept alive. It's going to be Flux coming through, catches 4, slams them back down. Immortality Field will save the majority of them. The bomb going to be slobbed in onto the cart, gets finished off by Guangzhou, but not before it can get rid of IDK and his Immortality Field. Flux in the back end will catch Godspeed and finish him off solo. The Pulse Bomb here from Architect, not going to be able to find anything this time around. Hotba hovering above, he's going to be bouncing around the corner looking for some kills, but Nene will go ahead and catch the Tracer that Hotba was on the hunt for.
Ooh. Well, there could have been some follow-up there if that barrier did not protect him from the accretion, but does survive, and Hangzhou's just going to regroup. They have Transcendence, but so does NYXL to match, and initiating this fight with Bob is probably their best bet here when they come around the corner, but it's rough because Hoxall is going to have a Blizzard in the longer fight. How many ults do you really want to commit here? No Bob yet.
Yeah, takes down QOQ right off the bat. So he's just lobbing the Dynamite through the broken wall. Will lead to IDK falling. And now it's just time for the cleanup here. They can't quite get the halt there onto Guangzhou, so he will be able to safely retreat back into the spawn. But Nene starting to really find his stride with this Ashe.
And Hangzhou is going to swap Architect over to Mei. Their composition is not a bad one by any means, and they have a ton of ultimates, but it's this one position on King's Row where the kind of comp that NYXL is running is going to do really well. So the difficulty here, despite the ult advantage, was so... I mean, it can't be overstated how hard it is for Hangzhou to engage here.
Yeah, that's going to be the Ant Matrix here from IDK. The Mei wall to try and cut off. Buys them a decent amount of time. Still break down Mono's barrier, but he'll kite back around the corner, drop in the supercharger. Bomb going to be lobbed in there from Godspeed. Chipping away in the back hall.
Bob here for New York, much better.
Wow, dead on arrival though. So much damage onto him right out of the gate. Transcendence going to be popped by Jonak as the Flux comes through from Hotbutt. Doesn't find any kills. They force the Transcendence as well as the Immortality field, however, from the side of the Hangzhou Spark. So they can turn this one around, and NYXL certainly have an opportunity to cut the cart off right where it sits. A rather large Flux coming through, but Anamo again has an Immortality field, keeps himself alive, and Jonak finds a frag, taking down Architect. Now Gushue going to fall. QQ trying to stay alive, burns the Kinetic Grasp, gets a little bit of shielding, but it's instantly melted away by the NYXL. They take that one down. Jonak continues to fill the kill feed here with his staple Zenyatta play. Gets another one there onto IDK on the back end, and the OT should bleed away. They have the Wrecking Ball trying to come through, but they take it down with the Accretion, stop him from tagging, and the cart will rest there.
It's not a finish that you feel good about if you're Hangzhou Spark, because sure, I mean, you pushed it almost all the way, and there were a lot of really dominant fights through the Streets phase. Architect getting multiple big picks with the pulse bombs, and just showcasing how powerful of a Tracer player he is. But at the same time, despite your successes, you really started to get a little bit choked up there on C. New York Excelsior is kind of crushing you at range. You're having problems with the Blizzard, and eventually you even see Hangzhou Spark swap to May to match. And that's the moment where you realize, okay, our comp isn't working, and everything we prepared for this map isn't working out. And that's a tough decision and a tough call you have to make to swap composition like that to match your opponent, when you're essentially saying, okay, like, we lost this, in terms of strategy, we lost. We have to do something different. And you feel pretty defeated at that moment. You don't finish the map. And they come to the defense here of A with May, which they might not have planned initially, but you kind of have this sinking feeling if you're Architect here of like, of course I'm a great May player, and I am a fantastic May, but this is not what I planned, this is not what I prepared, and I'm not doing what I want to do, I'm not playing my game, I'm kind of matching my opponent here, and that's, psychologically that could mess with you a little bit, but they are going to run the mirror right out of the gates. And then a teleport, and then we'll see that swap as well. Probably back to the Ashe.
Boost up the wall there as they make their way into the theater, and then on the Ashe. So mirrored across the board.
He just swapped it far for a second to increase his hero pool in the official stats page.
I like the decision from the Hangzhou Spark to play on the low ground. They don't want to get put into a similar position where they have to choose when to drop down. They want to just try and hold it here from the get-go. So I do like that a lot.
Yeah, they're not.
Bebe, okay. Bebe doesn't
pick.
like that though. Jonak, yeah, asserting dominance. Manages to take him down across the way. And with that one big pick, maybe that's going to be enough. Jonak with 5 HP will survive as he makes his way back into the hall. Won't get fully topped up though. Shields go so far for him. So needs to get some heals tossed in from Anamo, but it's not going to happen. Godsby finds a headshot, takes him down. Seems like Hangzhou might just be able to stave off NYXL from getting this first tick on the point. Dynamite up top, getting a little bit, I believe that might have forced Hawksall into the ice block.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Meter does bleed away, so they do not get that tick.
Yeah, Nene doesn't have the angle he wants here, unfortunately, and trying to find a dynamite shot here. It's actually decent. They might be able to collapse in and finish Bebe off here.
Out. It's going to be gone again, this time by Gushue's hand, but pushing forward. Goku, Bebe both going to be eliminated. Gushue striking back, manages to find a third as Hawksall will fall. For a little bit more, but it's going to be the Bob scooping the kill here onto Hotba. Again, NYXL, they're tiptoeing their way onto the point. They get a little bit of a tag in. Now they get that first tick, as Gushue cannot escape through the arch. And it seems like this might just be it. Hangzhou Spark playing forward, getting ready for the archway defense.
Yep.
And they do not have the extra stagger, that split spawn there onto Gushue, so he's going to be spawning close to them.
And New York has, a lot of ultimates as well coming online here, just a little bit faster than Hangzhou Spark, and Hangzhou, I think, needs to really respect that if they can identify that. Because if you take the straight-up archway fight with the ultimates available for New York, they might just, win a Blizzard fight, and then they're super efficient, and then you lose a lot. Yeah. So this is risky that they're actually committing here. It's not going so well.
I was going to say, unless QOQ can eat another one, but he's not going to be given the opportunity. Hotbuck goes ahead, cuts him down. Flux comes through, hovers up over the top. He's looking for a target, but pretty much everybody that he can grab is already just gone. So it doesn't really need to invest the Flux there, but for good measure, to get them out of that deadly choke, they will be able to break through.
I was talking about the choke being a bad choice potentially because of the ult advantage, but it really was just neutral picks they got, and Jonak just really helped control that. Hapa's not having his greatest night ever tonight on the Sigma, I will say, but, you know, committing that Flux just to be sure, just to keep that time bank rolling. Can't criticize him too much for that, but NYXL don't have the ult advantage they had anymore, and I think this is a fight Hangzhou absolutely should take. They're going to supercharger their way over.
Nearly get a pick off there onto Nene. Wall will cut off Jonek for a little bit of time there, and Hangzhou will get picked off. Bob's going to be coming through from Nene, so they still want this fight, but the Bob just does not last very long at all. As the Blizzard comes through, Jonek pops that Transcendence. Keep everybody alive. Protect just looks for a target to try and start building up for another one, trying to predict the movement of Jonek, and he manages to get the body shot there as he was weakened and finishes him off. Now no supports, one less tank, and NYXL will have to go ahead and peel back and restart this approach to point B.
Worst place to get held, but I mean that's exactly what you want if you're Hangzhou. You're down on ults, you lose the last fight, but you just barely muster up another attack for B, where you come through, you defend, you trade ultimates into your favor, and now New York has the worst run back, and you're going to get a stagger kill too. I mean, it looks
he's
like
taking
they
them
might...
on a merry chase, but at some point you have to just say, Mono, just die, get the reset, come back in. You only got 2.5 minutes left. That's more time gone. You're not building up ult charge. Just let them finish you off.
And you're in your Orisa too. You don't have a Lucio. I mean, you're walking for a while to get back to be here as Orisa. So I mean, like the whole team has to really just be like, okay, all right. Like we literally that just cost us probably 20 seconds or more. And then you can see now. Look at how far they have to go just to get to the cart. They have to push through. And Hangzhou Spark has a Bob they can toss out to delay.
They pull together. Bob's going to be coming through. Jonak absolutely destroyed. Godsby on the flank. Gets that shot. Shot Dink there onto QOQ. Forces his position back, and Godsby will be finished off in the meantime. So trying to equalize as best as possible are the NYXL. Can they make their way over to the car? Oh, Transcendence from Baby just a little bit too late. Gooshway. They get burnt down there by the Dynamite, and Amo comes in with the killing blow. QOQ isolated, frozen, finished off. That should be the cart managing to make its way into point B now, as the supports will fall.
You mentioning the trans being a little bit late, I mean, you know, you can't fault Bebe too much for that because it was less than a second too late, but in Overwatch, that's sometimes all, that's just razor thin as the timings could be, so that's really unfortunate because he loses trans and they lose the fight. So a huge, huge opportunity for New York now to finish this off. They have the ult advantage, they have Flux with no trans to counter.
Flux out from Hotba, finds QOQ. You have the Immortality Field, that will now be finished off, and Jonak finds that mid-air headshot onto the enemy Sigma to finish him off. So far, just going to be the Bob, all that Spark are able to find, but there you go. They chip away at them, they knock them down one after the other, they get them off the cart, and NYXL are able to push through to a victory on King's Row, now moving up 2-1. So match point for themselves, but given how close this has been, I feel very strongly that there's a lot of potential that we could be moving into a Game 5 here in a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel that could happen. And it's crazy how, like, it's the little things that are really stacking up to be the game changers, right? I mean, like, on map 2 was the big Dragon Blade we had there that really shut down the push of New York Excelsior. And then you have the full hold from that big moment from Architect. And then you go to map 3. And it's just, the trance is just a little bit too late. And Hangzhou is just barely ahead in ultimates, and you've got that long run back, and they're still able to make that happen. I'm really impressed with how close this series has been, but like for the strangest and the most technical of reasons, right? From a pause to like a late trance, and it's a very like cutthroat series where it feels like any mistake a series is so tight that if you make one little mistake, it can cost you a whole map. Yeah, and I love series like that. And I think we might go the distance on this one if this continues.
Well, razor-thin margins indeed, but NYXL, match point in their hands. We'll see if they're going to be able to close this one out 3-1, or if the Hangzhou Spark can extend us into a Game 5 when we come back for the next map. So stay tuned, guys, because you don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
ladies and gentlemen. NYXL currently in the lead of this series, but it has been so close throughout. 2-1 the scoreline, and this could be the final map for them, but given how Hangzhou Spark has been performing, would not be surprised if we just see the pendulum swing back and forth until we get to that Game 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the little things that are really pushing these games over the edge, and there was a real world where New York Excelsior could have lost that with the runbacks they had and the positioning that Spark were in, but just that one, like, literally less than a second late trance from Bebe there just gives them the opportunity to come in and steamroll through. We're seeing insanely good Tracer play, I feel like, on both sides, which is always fun to watch. But you and I were talking about it in the break, off stream. The next map is Temple of Anubis. We saw already Genji v Genji on Gibraltar, so hoping maybe we see Mika subbed back in and we see some more Genji versus Genji action here, because it's such a great map for Genji.
I took a peek at my screen to go ahead and try and cheat a little bit, but everybody else is going to see it as we go ahead and jump in to Temple of Anubis. Mika is, in fact, back in.
So not a shocker.
We don't have Mandu. We do have Anamo still here for the side of the NYXL, as is Nene, so they're not making any alterations, but it's seeming like that is the direction that Hangzhou Spark wants to steer their boat in.
Yeah. New York's going to defend first, so, you know, I don't think we'll necessarily see Genji there. Like, it's not the greatest place to run Genji from. Haxel... Oh, that's not true, actually. That was the thing that was wrong. So, it's going to be Orisa. It's going to be old school, though, Orisa Junkrat for Hangzhou.
Yeah. Architect with the Junkrat. I mean, this is, you know, after some of the changes have come through on the Junkrat. So, you know, faster trigger time for his passive, also larger grenade spread when the Junkrat does die. But in addition to the bounce changes and whatnot for his grenades when those are knocked off of players.
Yeah, it's really...
So slightly buffed.
Yeah, I'd say like he's reworked to be like... It almost feels like quality of life, but it does end up at the end of the day being a slight buff. Haxel is going to be on the Genji Nene Tracer, so it's going to be dive from NYXL. No Mercy. So just going to be the Anamo Lucio that you alluded to, and obviously it's his Diva list with the current hero pool, so that means that Mono is actually going to flex over to the Wrecking Ball.
Oh,
well, that's not a good start.
Got flexed on. Yeah, absolutely destroyed. Hot button nearly taken down as well, so that was a bad look for him. Let's see how take two goes.
It was really good play by Hangzhou Spark, you know, and the Discord orb came out early. And, you know, the big scary thing for Haxel is Hotbot dies here, so it's another reset. The big scary thing is the race to ultimate is, you know, if the Junkrat is ahead because that builds so quickly, you can really just kind of get lapped, and then the Riptires just shut down all your Dragon Blades. And we talked about Haxel's Dragon Blades being predictable and how quickly he builds those and how he kind of farms it. He doesn't have a Mercy for this. It's just like the old Runaway days. Yeah, they're going to nano for this push.
Yeah, Hotbot jumping into the back. They'll pop him away with that remote bomb there. Godspeed antied for the moment. Seems like he'll be okay. Hotbot just going to be picking up that mini pack for the time being to try and stay alive until he can get back into line of sight of Jonak. Meanwhile, Pile Driver comes through from Mono over onto the point. Discord Orb goes out onto him. They're trying to halt him back into vision as the nades get pushed through from Architect, who misses that hop, but he still gets the kill on the Nene and will get top back up. So it looked like a botch play from him, but still manages to capitalize. Get rid of that Tracer. Fantastically done from him.
Yeah, this is really a nice play from Architect. I mean, he's played through this meta before. You know, Godspeed is picked off by an Animo somehow. I'll never know about that.
I'm not sure quite how that one went down, but either way, Architect under some fire, antied for the moment. Haxel dashes through, manages to find two with that dash. Fantastic from him, Dragon Blade online, but you can tell he wants that for the snowball. They do not need it to take this point. The fight is already won. NYXL finally break through. They've got a lot to work with to try and get point B capped, but crucially, that Riptire is available for Architect to try and shut down the blade.
It's kind of crazy that Anamo got that kill and that ended up being so impactful, and New York were able to really snowball things out of control with dash resets from Haxel. He gets to keep the blade, they have Nano Boost, so it seems like a perfect world, right? But then Hangzhou also has the Riptire you talked about, they have the Transcendence, so this is a unstoppable force versus immovable object situation here right now on this push. We'll see how many tools New York uses. They might just try to bait out the Trance in the Riptire, and then on the follow-up push, go for the blade. Or maybe they'll do it now. Jonak's in range.
He's waiting for Architect, however, manages to find Mono. Dead on the start of the fight here yet again. That robot will finish him off. That will be the Nano Blade coming through. Transcendence comes out. Hoxel gonna be trapped. Now we hear the tire coming in. So far he's only found Gushue. Godsby with the bomb. Got rid of Anamo. Tire goes around the back and finds Nene. Back over towards the front of the fight though. Hotba falling low, manages to get rid of QOQ. NYXL, they're trying to move their way up onto the point. Hoxel sees all those low HP bars. He wants to dash through. He wants to try to get that reset, but he just cannot do so. Architect does manage to cut him down. And that will be the first volley from NYXL cut short.
Yeah, there's no Brigitte, but I mean, everything else just makes Hoxel's life hell. He's like, okay, I have to go through a trance and an immortality field and a rip tire. He still killed Orisa, which is one of the hardest targets you can kill. But yeah, there's not much he can do after that in that situation. But
it's like Architect going for a swap.
Yeah, he's going to swap. He just wanted to deal with the Dragon Blade, and now Junkrat's much weaker on B just because there's not a lot choke point to funnel through. You don't have a high ground to chuck your projectiles down from.
Mono going through doesn't really hit much with the pile driver. Will just drop the minefield straight up onto the point. And that will be the immortality field taken down, which allows for a finishing blow onto QOQ. A little bit back and forth here. 3 members go on the side of Hangzhou Spark, but of course do have those faster run backs. Gushue tries to make his way over onto the Mega Pack, but will not be allowed to do so. Mono hounds him down. QOQ swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball just does not last very long, and NYXL nearly towards that second tick as Mika has to get the heck out of dodge. Cutting around
He's
the walls.
surviving.
Actually finishes off Hotba. He gets him in the head with the primary fire and is still alive and in the fight. Hangzhou Spark, because of that, maybe have a little bit of extra staying power. He could potentially turn this one around, but Nene is starting to pop. Manages to find 2, the headshots through, gets rid of both of the DPS members on the side of the Hangzhou Spark. Godsby has respawned, and he's coming back through with a bomb ready to go.
Bob, do something!
Bomb going to be tossed out. Mono going to be anti for the moment, and Hoxel falling low, trying to survive long enough to get ready with that Nano Blade.
Jonak just doesn't have Nano yet.
HP.
Yeah, they're so close, but so far.
That second tick. Jonak being displaced, falls a little bit low, gets the sleep dart in onto Gushue. Doesn't get the deflect quite there onto the pulse bomb, but has to peel back because of that zoning ultimate, quite literally. Hoxel can't get much done. He can't push forward and get in range of the enemy targets as he wanted to slice and dice. Now makes his way into the back, however, finds Godsby, sees that he's vulnerable, manages to take him down. Architect going to be taken out now by Nene, as Hoxel barely manages to get the kill there onto QOQ. Mega Pack's not quite available for him anyway, so was dead to rights. They get the cleanup, they're looking for the cap, but it seems like that will be the finish, and it is. 1 minute and 28 seconds here for NYXL.
Very crazy, long, extended fight. It was very risky for NYXL to actually continue to commit in that fight without ultimates and try to push out things over the edge because, you know, on 2CP, when you're not getting the kills like in quick succession, the defenders always have this massive spawn advantage, and it can be very scary if that fight's going longer and you commit ultimates and then you still lose. You've lost time, you've lost ultimates, but they stayed, they committed. Jonak had some incredible moments. The time where while he was dying, he knew he was going to die, he sees the nano boost on the Winston and flicks over and sleeps Gushue in while he's nano. No, he was not primal, but while he was nano boosted, was actually insane. It's like in his dying breath, he sleeps the nanoed Winston. Just incredible moves like that. Hoxel having that great chase kill onto QOQ when he was trying to stall. On top of all that, Mika getting the kill onto Hotball while stalling at like 20% health was insane. It was a very back and forth B defense with a lot of chaos. I do have to wonder why it's Mono who's playing the Wrecking Ball and Hotball's on Winston, because you think of Hotball as kind of a flex player, and you would think maybe with the ball being, with double main tank, quote unquote, you would think that maybe he'd be the one on it, but I wouldn't say it was a shaky Winston by any means, but he was outclassed by Gushue. They still take the point. And Architect's going to be going over onto Genji. Godsby shows the Widowmaker for now.
Yeah.
And
see if they decide to change their minds now that they get a little bit of a spot here on the competition. Know that there's a Torbjorn. Architect going to be burning down. He's going to have to try to get a health pack, and there you have it.
There was no Junkrat, so they identified that. And that's a good bit of information to glean as Hangzhou Spark, because Molten Core is a very strong repelling ultimate against dive as well, but not quite as potent as the Riptire. So they can try to kind of farm a blade here. I'm a little bit surprised, especially with Mika subbed in, that they're not trying to mercy this and push it.
Okay.
All right. But alrighty then. So I'm a little surprised, as I was saying, they're not going to run Mercy with this and try to just build a Dragon Blade. Now they know it's not a Junkrat, but yeah, that happened.
He just couldn't get through the door.
That was kind of sad.
Oh boy. Well, denied entry.
Yeah, we just witnessed a murder, Ilios.
We did. QOQ's a vampire, and he wasn't invited in, so he couldn't make it through the threshold. See the Halt getting pulled, the pull there onto Gushway just in front of this mid ground. As Hoxall continues to spam away, going to be slow building towards that molten core, but there's just been these quick picks coming through. Not really any kind of extended team fights happening where he can actually right click and poke away at people. Now this is the fight. This is the fight, however, as Hoxall will be the first one to fall. Melee shot there from Gushway does eliminate him. Nate playing on the flank, left clicks away to try and get rid of Bebe. Is unable to do so, however, as QOQ and Jonak are duking it out all the way back over towards point B. He will get finished off. Getting zapped on. Nearly has that Transcendence online. Now has it. Does he pop it? Oh my gosh, had a fraction of a second there. Or could have saved his life, but Mika again comes out of nowhere and strikes him down. Finds the kill. As Nene will also be eliminated. Gushway here in the back hallways. It's a very nice corner on multiple members. Hotbot and Hoxall both going to get cleaved down as Hangzhou Spark start ticking up on point A.
I was thinking about it a little bit more in that team fight, and I looked back to Runaways' history and their success on this map, right, with Hoxall and Genji, but the weak point for Hoxall on Anubis during that meta was, as we actually are going to have a contest here, so I'll hold my tongue on this one.
Well, they get the Bionate on the mono, so it's a very short-lived one.
But yeah, it's so weird. Actually, they almost got caught there. Like, if they had gotten caught out after he died, they would have been in big trouble, but anyway, Hoxall his Junkrat was never a lot to remark on, right? So that might be why he's playing the Torbjorn here, but he has a Molten Core. It's weird to see Hoxall on Torbjorn. It's not a hero he almost ever plays. And it's going to be their only repelling tool here versus this Blade.
Yeah, Nano Blade going to be coming through already. The lava going to be thrown down, and yeah, Architect not having a good time. Bob will finish him off. And you see both supports going to be falling shortly thereafter, so NYXL successfully stave off that initial volley here from the Hangzhou Spark, and that is 2 ultimates gone for free, and it seems like Architect, no, okay, we'll be swapping it up. Thought he was going to stick around with it, which would have been a bit odd, so we'll swap to the May Reaper now.
This is a pretty common thing that we would see a lot of teams do on Temple of Anubis even years ago, where you swap to the Reaper after your Blade fails because you're just trying to have that staying power on the point and help break through the tanks. And it's a very strong strategy on Anubis. They're going to go with the Minefield to open.
Minefield out with a sound barrier as well.
Great ice wall.
Going to be finished off. Hoxall trying to survive, barely makes it into the ice block. The Hulk trying to pull some members of the Spark together. QOQ barely staying alive with that Discord Orb, receives it yet again, gets a little bit of shielding from that E, but it's not enough for him to last. But Hangzhou Spark still finds some crucial kills now with Hotba falling. They can start ticking up on the point. First tick coming through. Can NYXL stop them? This would be a superior time bank for Spark. Second tick now there. They start making their way back over onto the point. Mono going to be taken down, and Jonak not pulling the trigger yet on this Transcendence. Just trying to frag out, trying to get some kills. Now we'll pop the ultimate while he's by himself on the point. Needs to wait for the rest of the members to try and get here and keep him protected. Pal Driver coming through. QOQ trying to deal with Jonak himself. It's a very close battle, but QOQ does manage to come out victorious. Mono going to be rolling around as Hoxall comes back through with the Doom Fist. Gets the uppercut, slams back down, finds QOQ with the seismic slam. But Blossom is out, however, from Godspeed, builds that one up rather quickly, finishes off Hoxall, and they finish off the point. 221 to 128.
So that push was actually really tough to execute for Hangzhou Spark, but they did it really well. So they swapped over to the Reaper, right? And then they engaged with the Minefield. And that kind of guarantees your Reaper is going to get on the point and he's going to get some damage done. Then they ice walled out Nene. So ice walls up, Nene can't poke from the side. And so he's essentially useless. So right off the bat, they've gotten onto the point, they've done most of the hard work. Hoxall has to ice block, and then he's chased down and killed by Godspeed. So everything is going well. You've got a Primal Rage, so they toss that out. And then suddenly you've got a Reaper on the point. You're starting to do serious work. You can't stall and delay very well against a Reaper. I mean, despite the fact that NYXL did delay for a decent amount of time, you can't really retake by trading kills when there's a Reaper on the other side. It's just so difficult to do. That's why they pick the Reaper for this type of push. And it was really just very well executed step by step. I mean, coming in, setting up the block on Nene there, and then, you know, you've got Reaper on the point, you've shut down Haksal, you've got a Primal Rage, they had the Primal to push with it on top of it all. They had so much staying power to guarantee the Reaper was going to do work. The only way that it could have gone poorly is if the Reaper got sniped or something or frozen, and they just shut both of those down right off the bat. Haksal is going to go back to the Genji here for this secondary attack for New York Excelsior. Architect has, once again, a Reaper. Or, excuse me, I don't know why I said Reaper there. Junkrat. It's been a long night for us, you know. So, we'll see if he can get that Riptire first and actually use it this time.
Mono going to be halted through. Doesn't get melted off the bat this time around. Does manage to survive, but he does get staved back and receives a little bit of a parting gift of dynamite.
Must be hot in there for that little hamster.
Shots coming out. Architect under pressure. Will get finished off. Haksal finding that kill, but Godspeed strikes back. Manages to get two. Haksal and Mono both going to be eliminated. You can see the exit there from Hotba with the Discord Orb. Discord Orb tagged onto him, so barely makes it out with his life intact. And it's going to have to be a reset and a restart for NYXL, who are down to 36 seconds.
So unfortunate, too, because he had such a great opportunity when Architect was dead. He's back now, and he's halfway to a Riptire. Haksal is not going to get a Blade, I don't think, on this overtime push anymore. He just simply can't.
Yeah, without the Mercy Pocket, definitely limits that possibility. Anamo, however, gets up close and personal with Bebe, manages to take him down. Abba dives in, the recipient of the Nano Boost. They get the cleanup kills coming through, and it seems like they will not go down without a fight. They will not be held here at point A in the extra innings. Second tick getting ready to roll in, just have to clear off the point, and with Architect falling, they do just that. So an extra 30-second bump getting ready to come through for NYXL. Primal nearly there, the Blade nearly there. This Pulse Bomb from Nene really could make a difference because Bebe does not have that Transcendence, and Mika has to nail that Immortality field.
Yeah, I mean, it's the razor-thin thing we were talking about earlier. You know, NYXL is not getting these Blades, but they're getting single kills that are snowballing into big pushes. Architect's going to have the Riptire now, so NYXL is going to have a really clean attack. Sound barrier to
back,
approach.
Nene. Point going to be contested here for the moment. Supercharger does not last. Minefield gets rid of the Riptire. Godby gets taken down. Haksal, however, is eliminated, as his hot buff with the Pulse Bomb stick from Nene is going to be good, but they have to make their way over onto the point and keep this one contested. You can see Anamo rolling up around the top sides of the pillars, trying to keep things rolling here for NYXL to give them a fighting chance on the point. Transcendence does come through from Bebe, but Mika not in range of it, and Antied can't do anything. They tag back in, continuing to tiptoe on and off the point to force out the OT. They get back in one last time, but Nene gets exploded on the back end of that one, so they cannot get anything on point B, and Haksal can just barely not get that Dragon Blade ready.
Yeah, he dies, or rather the map essentially finishes when he's at 98%, and, you know, everything else went well for them on A. I think they could feel pretty happy with what they were able to accomplish despite not building the Blade and despite having such a low time bank. And you just have to have a really good defense here. The question is, do they run the Torbjorn again, or do we see a Junkrat? I know that, and you and I have cast Haksal for a long time, and you and I both know that even in the Orisa Junkrat meta, that was not his strong suit. That was not why Runaway had such a great win rate on Anubis. It was because of his Genji, right? And it is going to be the Torbjorn again. There's nothing wrong with the Torbjorn choice, but the Junkrat works really well with Orisa. You have a lot of extra peel with the Concussive Mines against a Genji, and, you know, I'm assuming that we're going to see Genji from Hangzhou Spark again. We might not, based on what they're showing us right now. But you have the ability to set up a lot of crossfire with the Torbjorn, because you have Ashe on one side, you have Torb on the other side. The turret makes it difficult to dive. On top of that, you have Jonak, who's basically a sniper if you're NYXL, because he's just so accurate. But Hangzhou look like they're going to skip out on the Genji for now. They're going to run this Zarya comp with the Doomfist, try to build up some energy and win that longer fight there, and look for the secondary push with the grab to close out the map. They have to get A and a tick, or it's going to be a draw if they just simply get A alone. So not an easy situation here for the Hangzhou Spark, but they have a little bit of extra time.
See?
They're not committing early. They're waiting for this really nice drop.
I know you could land on the snout.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before either. I mean, I figured you could, but why would you? He's going in!
Maximize that seismic slam damage. Gets
and
quite a bit in. Hotba already going to be eliminated. Cloudades there onto Mono. Immortality field keeping alive for a little bit longer. Tech gets the slam down. Will go ahead and exit Doesn't need the mini pack. Continues to rotate up towards that high ground. Hoppa going to be swapping over onto the Roadhog, making his way back towards the point. Hear that turret starting to auto-target Architect as he pokes his head out. YXL pretty split up here for the moment. Hoxel gets hit with a Bionade. Architect takes a little bit too much damage. Don't feel confident enough to fully commit in to try to get the finish on the Torbjorn, so backs out. Nene going to be taking a nap. Start from Baby going to be looking good, but they can't get the finish, and Hoppa manages to find Mika. And they will be finished off by Gushue in the end.
Torb turret's doing a lot of work here.
Yeah, with the support down, that's going to hurt them a lot, and that is going to hurt them even more. QOQ picked off. The Nano Boost still going to be used here onto Gushue to try and get him that Primal Rage, I suppose. They still have some time to work with, but it seems like a bit of a disconnect. They're not acknowledging that QOQ was going to be eliminated, and they still throw that ultimate in onto the Winston.
Anamo's crazy. He hit the Immortality Field, keeping the people alive. He healed Hoxel there and kept him alive as well. Anamo's playing the ultimate support right now, making sure New York does not crumble under all this pressure. Architect looking for another punch here to try to flank. He has Meteor Strike.
Gets across the way, drops down, looks for the punch. Gets a hit there onto Hoxel, who's trying desperately to stay alive. Tries to trade back, nearly finishes him off. But Godspeed will be able to find the snipe. Meteor Strike now instead going to be dropped safely on top of the roof. Keep himself in the fight. Drops down, punch comes in, manages to tag up Mono, taking him rather low, but Bebe still going to be finished off by Nene, who's now occupying the high ground. Pokes his head out, however. Godspeed takes it off. Seismic Slam coming through. Hook pulls Architect back around the corner, but he's going to be okay. QOQ with the Graviton Surge lines up for himself to get a double kill. Now Mono going to be finished off. Jonek gone as well before he can get the Transcendence online, and Hangzhou Spark will be able to get this cap. So they are either giving us a draw, so they're taking us to that map 5. Either way, it's map 5.
It's a bit cloudy tonight, but I think I got to pull the telescope out for this one. I'm not looking at stars. I think this is the draw, man. No ultimates really available here. Now they're going to try this Reaper strategy again, but it's a little bit tough to pull off in this case. They don't have the ults to open. They don't have the minefield. And Hoxel has Molten Core, which is really just going to put a huge damper on all of this. But there's a shot. 1 in a million chance.
Pushing their way forward. Energy still going to be nicely built up here from QOQ. You can see Hoxel trying to cut them off with the Molten Core, forcing them to walk through damage, and Gushue just gets absolutely destroyed. Jonek helping, getting that assist there on the back of the Torbjorn. Also melts down Bebe. Now Godspeed going to be gone. You pulled out your telescope, and it's looking like it's a pretty clear night now, Wolf. The clouds have parted.
Yeah.
OT will bleed away. And for the first time in a while, it feels like, at least with you and I commentating, we have a draw on our hands. So the series is not yet done, but Hangzhou Spark are no closer to taking this away from NYXL.
Yeah, NYXL, still on match point as we head into Ilios coming up here, but yeah, it's just really unfortunate that Hoxel was able to get that Molten Core and keep it. Like, that was, they just decided like they were okay with the draw, I feel, and he was constantly under pressure. He might have actually used it if he had survived in that moment where he was chased down, because they were non-stop. Architect was putting so much pressure on him so that he couldn't Molten Core the point. And I think at some point Hoxel might have just said, I'm not gonna use this. We're just gonna go for the draw, because like things were obviously out of control. Like, he could have used the Molten Core as he was running away and then helped hold A that way, but it would have been very risky. And as soon as like the Meteor Strike was committed, I think Hoxel was like, well, I'm dead, and we were probably gonna lose A, but we have a draw almost no matter what if I have a good Molten Core. And the way they came to B, which you pointed out, going through that left side, meant that there was basically one exact perfect place to put the Molten Core. By the time they got onto the point, everyone had taken about a third of their life bars, so nicely done there for NYXL to kind of guarantee that draw worst case scenario. But the Torbjorn, it worked out. They could have gone for the Junkrat. He decided not to. And difference in style there means NYXL get to survive with the draw. They don't have to worry about that 5th map, our next map of control, being their series life on the line. They've got an extra life here.
Yeah, so still match point here for NYXL. If they can close out the next map of control, then they will go ahead and take the series. For the Hangzhou Spark, though, still need to win 2 more in a row if they want to pull off this victory. We're going to see if they can do that when we come back for the break. So stay tuned, guys, because things continue to heat up in here.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
welcome back yet again. This series keeps on going. Hangzhou Spark not able to force out that final map 5, but we are going to map 5. 2-1 is the scoreline. A draw on Temple of Anubis means that NYXL still at match point, still could close this out with one more win. Hangzhou, the onus is on them to outperform NYXL and just come at them harder than they've ever come at them so far in this series, because they need 2 in a row.
If we go all the way back to Busan, there was some compositional mismatches back then. York Excelsior had a great start to the series. We're going to control for the rest of this series. It's going to be Ilios and then potentially Oasis if we do go to Game 5, if you will, or Game 6, to be our final tiebreaker. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like New York should still have the edge here, but they were so close to finishing that map. They had the draw finish. Really unfortunate. And I don't want to say it feels like the series is slipping away, because it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like these games are so close that like anyone could take them. And Control, you can't draw. It's very cut and dry. It's also one of the most, as a map type, it's very much hard to come back, because if one team gets control the point first, they can delay, they can get to 99, they can come back with ultimates, for example. So that first cap is going to be extremely important. And I wonder how New York is going to try to make a composition to make a run for just closing this series out right now. Nope, I take it back. There is a sub. Sabilby is back in with Nene. That's a weird lineup.
So Haksal is out for the first time in the series. Interesting alteration here to the lineup.
Yeah, kind of a risky call, when the series is... I mean, I feel like tighter than it's ever been. You're going to Control. This is your match point to win it. We'll see what they end up running here. I think there's since we are going to Ruins first, a real chance that Nene sticks with the Widowmaker. We might just see Widow Tracer. I think it's just going to be Widow Tracer like most teams have been doing tonight in Korea.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Will be Widow Tracer. Godsby versus Nene.
Okay, well, this is what we were kind of waiting for. And I mean, I don't hate that we didn't see it until the end, because I love seeing dive, but we're finally seeing it.
Okay, well, first blood found by Nene. Gets rid of Bebe. Finishing him off, but getting punished for it. And yeah, forced to go ahead, turn around, look at Architect, and Godsby strikes him down from behind.
It's a big flank coming through. Hoppa there. Very risky what he's doing, but it pays off.
Point nearly capped for now by NYXL. There we go. Finally do manage to net that for themselves, but Hoppa going to be taken down. QOQ finding that kill. Looking for a little bit more. Godsby just sitting up here on top of the point. Gets that just primary fire, unscoped kill onto Mono. We could be seeing a very fast flip back. Yeah, Hangzhou Spark finishing off Sabiolbi. Now Anamo will be able to take this. So only 17% accrued for NYXL.
I wonder where Godsby's going to try to operate from. It looks like he doesn't want to go onto the high ground or the roof. He's just going to stay on the point itself. Architect is trying to gather intel right now, and then is going to look for a backline pick. The very worst case scenario, he'll probably get an immortality field if he's able to do a nearly full clip kill. They don't know where he is. He's actually hiding for a long time. He's not going to be able to get much here now that he's revealed his position. He like trades a blink and he's like, okay.
Trying to move into a position here, trying to get a shot. Already under pressure. Pulse bomb going to be lobbed in there. Just gets rid of that immortality field. It was looking a little bit scary for Nene at that moment. You see Architect is constantly dashing around looking for another target. This time it's going to be Jonak taken down by Gujue. Anamo tries to keep everybody alive. Sabiolbi, however, breaks things open, manages to find both supports with a single pulse bomb, follows up with another kill onto Godsby, now gets QOQ. Sabiolbi has had enough. He is back in. He has been raring to go since he was subbed out after map 1. And you can see that it is paying off, putting him back into this game right now, asserting his dominance. Comes up with 4 kills.
That was actually insane, just watching like Sabiolbi just rip through like space and time and grab that triple. And it's been a very back and forth map, as we are going to get a replay of this moment. You can see everyone's kind of grouped up here. Immortality field is down. He's able to confirm that, so he just goes ahead and commits onto Mika. He sees the immortality field go down, and he's just going to get Godsby on the exit.
He almost got all 3 of them with the pulse bomb alone, but then still just had the follow-up coming through. Hoppa pops the Flux, manages to get a solo catch onto QOQ, slams him back down, and the Transcendence is forced on Bebe. Try and keep everybody else topped up. They get the halt in, Jonek falling low. Headshot would have finished him off, but they'll go ahead and use the Transcendence just in case so he can stay alive. And tries to heal up Mono, who's under a lot of pressure right now. As he pokes out, manages to find that kill, but Jonek punishes him for it. But you can see the rest of NYXL now crumbling. Nene manages to find one more, but it's a 2-for-3 exchange in favor of the Hangzhou Spark, who have since flipped the point back into their favor and now have the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as back and forth as you could ask for on a control map. I mean, it feels like every team fight changes control of the point. And, you know, the trans being forced early onto Jonak there is not only because he got body shot, but also because Mono was crumbling in the front line with the Discord orb on him and all the damage that was coming through there, but he's still not able to hold it. Falls down himself, and now New York Excelsior don't have a great amount of ultimates. Hangzhou doesn't either, but they have positional advantage, which means that their situation is by far the superior. They also have line of sight advantage here. As you can see, Nene's trying to shoot through his teammate's own passage to the point. Just doesn't have any angles at the moment. He's hoping to kill a flanking Tracer, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb out yet again. Speaking of killing Tracers, Godspeed manages to do just that. Finds Sabiolbi, gets the headshot, and he's struggling to try and get that line of sight to finish off Architect, who is being such a pain in the rear. QOQ completely surrounded, however, does fall under the pressure as Gushue makes his way back to the point, dropping that barrier, setting up that bunker to try and go ahead and close out this round. Jonek and Mono now going to be falling. Mika jumping back up here on the high ground. As that shift gets the heals coming through. Sabiolbi gets rid of Godspeed, but he needs to get rid of so much more, but he just will not be given the opportunity. Is finished off, as is Hotba. And that will be the first round of Ilios closed out. Ruins goes to Hangzhou Spark 100-62%.
Yeah, very much a back and forth round. Nothing about that was one-sided, but where the chips fell basically for the last fight, the one that matters the most, the one that decides the round, Hangzhou had that defensive advantage. They got that opening pick onto Sabiolbi on the Tracer, and Nene was just like, I can't get line of sight, I can't find anything. To kind of latch onto as a Widow, and during a comp like that, you need to have that line of sight, you need to have that advantage, that edge, and just did not occur. So we have a chance for New York now to bring us that third round to try to end the series, and Architect's going to pull out the Pharah here, so changing it up pretty significantly right now. I mean, we're seeing a completely different look here. We know Architect's hero pool is deep, he's a great projectile player as well as hit scan, and New York is going to have to react. Nene's staying on the Ashe for now, but he might want to swap over to McCree since it is the Tracer paired with this Pharah.
Already gets one nice tag there onto Jonak. Forces him back inside. Already it's really solid pressure being exerted by the Hangzhou Spark as the point becomes unlocked. Let's see how NYXL tries to get this approach, and if Nene can get this pesky Pharah out of the sky. Jonak continuing to fall low, so he picks up the health pack to keep himself sustained. Sabiolbi around the back, duking it out. Godspeed picks up that mini pack, now has to retreat. Can't use the recall. Just came off cooldown, but Architect strikes with the rocket, manages to go ahead and get rid of him. Godspeed finds Mono in exchange on those wrecking balls, but a 2-for-1 in favor of the Hangzhou Spark yet again as they try to lock down the point. Rockets coming through, nearly finish off Jonek. Will be sustained for the moment with the Bionade. Will make sure that he can't poke his head out anywhere at all, so Hangzhou do manage to get the first lockdown.
I mean, Ashe is not a bad counter to Pharah by any means, but the firing rate of McCree and his ability to help heal for Tracers that are threatening him when the rockets come through makes him, I think, a better choice in this particular case, but Nene's going to knock him out eventually. There you go. Rez is going to be here because it's a safe landing for the body.
Very fortunate in that regard, but Nene pushes forward to get that crossfire, and with Sabiolbi hovering nearby, they do get rid of Architect again, but now Godspeed, he's in the back line. They lose out on both supports here as he finishes off an ammo. Things still look a little bit rough here for NYXL. Sabiolbi trying to peel back, Godspeed finishes him off, goes ahead, recalls back in to help finish off Hotba as well. 42% on the board for Hangzhou Spark, and they are holding on to 4 ultimates still.
They are in massive control right now. Mika had to pop Valkyrie, well, he didn't have to, but he chose to pop Valkyrie, which helped them save those 4 ultimates that you're talking about right now. The barrage is going to be super potent here if they can find a nice angle. I mean, the only real deterrent is going to be the Sigma in this case. A solo shield with the Wrecking Ball here, so it can be extremely powerful. Transcendence isn't necessarily going to save you against that because the damage comes through so quick. Kyokyu's looking for this minefield first.
Really one of the most passively placed minefields that I've ever seen. We'll just get the Transcendence out from Jonak to go ahead and clear through those. Godsby with full spawn, manages to find an ammo. Mono will get rid of Bebe, but now Jonak going to be gone, so there's no supports available here for the side of the NYXL. As they have to survive, they have to either that or reset pretty soon here. But instead, they're going to press forward. They managed to find 2 more picks, but Architect strikes back with 2 of his own. Gets rid of Sabiobi and Nene with a barrage. Now looks for a little bit more. Jumps up into the air to try and evade. Gets the concussive knock onto Hotbus, sending him into the pit with
actually
85% on the board. Hangzhou Spark might just be able to take Ilios 2-0 and ensure that final map of control, not giving NYXL the opportunity to close it out right here and now. OG gonna start bleeding away under pressure. Sabiobi gets forced into the recall. Nearly has that pulse bomb ready to go. Bob gonna be tossed out onto the point. Sends him into the well with the sleep dart as well. Just doubling up onto that one. NYXL managed to pull the point out from underneath the Hangzhou Spark's nose. Finally getting some percentage on the board here. Seems like they might be able to hold on to it for a little bit longer here as Architect and Godsby will both be finished off at one as Rez back into the fight.
They commit the res. I don't know if that was, I mean, that was very risky, but I guess they were out of line of sight, so not as risky as I thought there. But either way, that's one really long cooldown used here. And NYXL have a nano boost available. Jonak actually made the swap as he died on Zenyatta there after trance to the Ana, which is going to be great for stalling. They're going to use it right now.
And Nene manages to find the double tap there, takes out Architect. Godsby rotating around the back, gets on top of Jonak, and he will fall under the pressure. It's an exchange of the Anas, and now QOQ going to be sent into the pit as well. The res already burned, that goes on to Architect. Which way finds one, gets rid of Nene, Pulse Bomb, gets rid of Mono. An all-out bloodbath off the point. Now Hangzhou Spark finally start redirecting their focus, trying to get this cap back into their favor as NYXL get ready to crest 50%.
Another minefield.
Continue. Minefield comes through. They look to clear those ones out very quickly here. Sanama just going to be taking those left clicks, but Hangzhou Spark have gotten the flip, and the OT starts bleeding away. They tag in onto the point here momentarily. QQ trying to get that roll through, but unable to do so. Nano Boost rolling. Look at the jump right in on top of his skull. Gets rid of Nene with a barrage. Solo ult used onto him. We'll see if that's going to cost him in the end. Mono manages to find Bebe. Jonak going to be gone. Now Sabiobi going to be eliminated. Hangzhou Spark have the tools that they need. They have the picks that they need. Go ahead and close this one out. Just have to get rid of Hotba here.
No way, another
one! Another boot now. Sending Mono into the pit. Did not have the grapple hook ready to go to pull himself back up to safety. The OT bleeds away, and the Hangzhou Spark will be able to close out Ilios. So it's map 6 getting ready to come up now. 2-2 the scoreline.
An insane performance on Pharah from Architect. Absolutely crazy. Like, see, in our screen, they say the play the game pop up. It's not Architect. It's Sabiobi. I'm like, what? How is that even possible?
The Sabiobi play was pretty clean.
It was good, but it was from the previous round, to be fair. But when I'm thinking about just that round alone, it's like it was the Architect show. Yeah. We know he's a good Pharah player.
I mean, but good God.
Shock didn't get to play that much Pharah last year outside of, like, you know, stage 3 when that was really popular. But
and
Architect,
Rascal.
Yeah, and Architect is like blowing this map up. He hit 3 insane concussive blasts on heroes that, by the way, can escape. Like, he just hit them at the exact perfect moment where there were no escapes. Like, the kill on the Wrecking Ball there at the end was perhaps the most impressive of them. Super high speed, very fast moving tank is knocked into the pit, can't escape. Out of control, good play from Hangzhou. We're going to that final map, Achilleos. I couldn't be more excited.
One final map to decide it here for the second time. We had, this isn't quite a reverse sweep situation here, but it feels like it since they have to win 2 of these controls in a row. They've already got Ilios. I believe you said Oasis is going to be coming up next. Yep. So let's see if Hangzhou Spark can close this out or if NYXL can put their foot down, say no more of this nonsense, and take the victory. We're going to find out in just a few. Stay tuned, guys. Again, things just it keeps heating up in here. I'm starting to sweat. The pressure is on. The tension is through the roof. Let's see who takes it when we come back from this final break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
Map 6 in this first to 3 set. Hangzhou Spark clawing their way back in. Did not want to go down without a fight, without that 2-2 scoreline at least up on the board. NYXL now on the back foot trying to shove Hangzhou Spark away from them. And I just don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win this one, and that's one of the most exciting things in Overwatch and in any sport in general, is when you have two teams who are playing at such a close level that you cannot say this team is probably going to take it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's actually been, unfortunately, this season for us in the APAC region, it's been pretty rare, actually. We've had a ton of 3-0s in this region.
Sure.
And a lot of series that looked like they were going to be really good and just totally were not, and they're 3-0s. Then you've got series like the last series, or the first series, rather, that we had today with Seoul, where it's like,
yeah,
it's a good series, but like for all the wrong reasons, and it's sad. Like, this is one of those series where you're like, okay, this is actually a really good series.
This is good.
We've seen the Widow Tracer, like the bread and butter of this, at least today's matches so far this week. We'll probably see a lot, but for today, we've seen that comp a lot today. We saw that,
yep.
But we mostly saw other stuff. We saw Reaper coming into the play. We saw May coming in. We saw the debut of
Doomfist,
Miko.
Junkrat.
Doomfist, Junkrat, Orisa. We saw Dive of all types. Torbjorn. Like, we've seen Symmetra, obviously for teleporters. We've, like, pretty much almost checked all the boxes. Like, we haven't seen Soldier 76 yet, really. We haven't seen, like, Bastion. But, like, we've pretty much seen everything, though, in this series, which is impressive given that Diva is banned. We've seen some Roadhog. Like, this series just kind of delivers on every level. And, it's again on top of what I mentioned earlier. It's Mika's debut. It's QOQ's debut. You've got the like fan fiction duo of Saebyeolbe and Huxall together. Like, it doesn't really get better than this, does it? And like, unless it's like a playoff or a finals or something.
Yeah, I mean, and hello, you have the reuniting of Gods being Architect, and it has been wonderful to watch. I mean, that last round of Ilios alone, if Hangzhou wins this series, and maybe even if he doesn't, it's like, okay, just give him player of the match already. Because, good Lord, what a carry. I can't see it right now. I do not see the lobby, so I don't know what's happening for either roster, but I'm really interested in seeing what NYXL is thinking as we get ready to go in to Oasis. Do they put Huxall back in? Do they take Saebyeolbe out? What is going to be the lineup that we see coming in for this final map of the series? Yeah,
does New York want to put Huxall on Pharah? Put Libero in, have him play Pharah. If they want to match that. Like, New York has an insane depth to their roster right now that I don't know if we've ever seen before. Like, when you think about, besides like Shock developed their players into like top tier players, whereas I feel like New York just kind of acquired some of the best players in the world in every role. And it feels like purchased power rather than like power that was developed, like Shock. But they suddenly have, New York's always had a really top tier Korean roster, but they suddenly have like, who are you? And Huxall and Libero and Nene. And then they've got Mondu in here now too. You still have Jonak, of course. Hotball's on the roster. What can that guy not play? Like, it's such a terrifying thing. And then Hangzhou looks super upgraded as well. I don't know why we're not getting into game yet, because it's what I want to see, and I want to close the series out. But
I think it's because we have a player swap coming through. It has been confirmed to me that it was Huxall coming in for Nene.
Okay.
So we will have the Huxall Saebyeolbe lineup yet again.
That's how we started things off. And it was, we saw some May for the most part. We saw like a little bit of Reaper from Saebyeolbe, but he changed off of that pretty quick. So that could be one of the reasons why we're seeing that substitution coming back in for the May. Is Libero, even though he was one of the players back on Meta Athena who actually kind of revolutionized May and started May to be meta in Korea and around the world, he hasn't had the same consistency as of late, and Huxall's been the one who's been playing that hero. I know a lot of people are like upset because Libero has a lot of fans. He's a very handsome guy. He's a very cool guy. But
fantastic player.
Who are you as in a Libero? People were angry now. Huxall's in and like, why is Huxall playing May? But I think Huxall's probably the more consistent May right now.
Yeah, I don't think that you can ever you can question generally like Libero not being in, but for the May specifically, I think that it's a pretty clear cut for Huxall. But we are jumping into the final map 6 here of this series. with Huxel and Sabiolbi. Mandu is also back in for NYXL.
Yeah, this is, we're going back to Control again, obviously, and this is a map where Mei is quite strong. Farah is strong too, though, especially when you go to the more open parts. Not going to be so much the case on University. I mean, you can still use Farah on University, but not as powerful, obviously.
Yeah, City Center, Garden, those are the areas that Farah would mostly excel in.
Garden especially. And when you look at New York now, you know, you see Huxel on the Mei already. You see Mano on the Reinhardt, you see Mandu on Lucio, and you think, okay, like, I kind of expected this. I knew this was coming. Not so much the McCree, though, and it feels like that's a little bit precautionary. You never know what Hangzhou is going to run. It's obviously very strong on this map in particular, on University in particular. So it's matched by Godspeed. And besides the Reinhardt, you know, we have a pretty mirrored comp in terms of the core. The support line also different for Hangzhou as well. And Mika stays in on the Batiste.
Well, Godspeed making his way up to the high ground just to get some pot shots here. The members of the NYXL who are hiding in the back hallway for the moment. You'll be rolling away as he gets that Discord Orb. Mono, however, playing up here onto the point. Godspeed gets tagged by that right click from Huxel. Nearly finishes him off. You'll be able to get the double tap to go ahead and finish the job. Gets the kill there. NYXL with the first lockdown to the point. Now moving past 10%. See what Hangzhou can get done to try to flip this back in their favor. Pressure is on.
This is a really nice setup here for NYXL and a risky flank for Hangzhou.
Coalescence here off the bat. Immortality Field is going to be finished off. Sabiolbi manages to find the kill here on a QOQ. But will be a trade on the Sigmas as Hotbutt dies as well.
They need more.
Looking for a little bit more. Jonik still playing up into the front. Fades back, but doesn't quite make his way over to the point. Tries to keep Huxel alive, but runs out of juice. Needs to use that healing orb to try and be able to hold that primary fire heal again. The Deadeye not really going to be netting too much, softens him up a bit. The Shatter comes down, however, does manage to stun 3, but they can't push in to try and get those kills. In fact, it's going to be Godspeed clapping back. Manages to find Mandu now, Sabiolbi going to be gone. As that Blizzard rolls here, it's all trying to turn things around. Wall comes up, Architect goes into the ice block, and Mono is cut off. Will be finished off. Now they just have to make their way over onto the point. NYXL has been in control this entire time. You know, retreating
this is a
back
disaster
and
for
trying
Hangzhou.
to hold that.
In terms of the control meter, right? I mean,
yeah.
Architect doesn't have Blizzard here, but he's flanking. It's like, why are you even engaging here? It feels like nerves and tensions are high here on the Hangzhou Spark. Not playing this one perfectly, but they finally regroup now, and they have ult advantage. Huxel swapped.
That eyes out from
that's
Godspeed.
huge!
Manages to find Hoppa. Oh no, as he tries to use the Gravitic Flux. QQ will finish off Mono. Huxel diving into the back, tries to get the finishing blow here onto Bebe, but he is protected by that Immortality Field. And they managed to finish him off, so the Doomfist not going to be netting them too much. They get a last-second delay here from Sabiolbi as the flip will finally come in. So Hangzhou Spark on the board, not going to get shut out here on this first round, but NYXL are in one-fight territory, 94% for themselves, and they have a sound barrier ready to go.
We've been talking about this
much else to accompany that.
Yeah, we've been talking about this all series long, but it's the little things, right? I mean, it looks like Godspeed was extremely ready for that. He knew Hotba had his Gravitic Flux. He had his Deadeye pointed exactly where he would be, and then is just able to pop him instantly before the voice line finishes. Insane play.
Blizzard comes in from Architect. Mono already going to be gone. Hotba walled off from the rest of the squad. It just gets burned down very steadily there by Gushui. This will be a one fight for the Hangzhou Spark. Ult efficient as well, just the Blizzard, all they had to use.
Hangzhou had a rough start to this round, but they have all the tools now. You know, I mean, the only thing they're missing really is the Blizzard. Like, that would make this like a perfect situation for them, almost unwinnable for New York. So New York have a lot of time, but it's dwindling quickly. They don't have a great engagement tool. I think the best way to actually open this point up is going to be Coalescence, and they don't even have it yet. You can see Jonak is just tossing these orbs in to get that last 25%.
Trying to get rid of that sound barrier, and they will be able to do so as the Flux comes through. Doesn't quite catch everybody. Deadeye now going to be rolling for Sabiolbi. Looks for a pick, but everybody makes it behind the walls or into an ice block safely. It's going to be that ult down. Mono with a pin. Gets rid of Mika.
That's a good start.
Now pushes his way back up top. Fire strike through. Just going to be clipping Gushui barely. A bit more, and you can see that crossfire coming through. Mono not really sure which way to hold the shield. Coalescence does roll, helps keep him topped up as Godsby receives an icicle to the skull. Hoxall cutting him down and putting them very much back into the fight. Tries to get the boop into the pin there. Onto Bebe, is unable to do so, but NYXL now looking more and more entrenched on this point, just looking for that final flip. As they push into the hall to finish off QOQ. Seems like this
Blizzard
could just
too.
be NYXL closing it out right now.
Yeah, I think so. Blizzard's out. The Wrecking Ball touch is all they've got.
Yeah, but Gushway instantly burned down there. They need somebody else to make their way to the point. They cannot do so. Hangzhou Spark, they make it close in the back end there, but a really strong start and finish for NYXL in the first round. University goes their way 193.
This is a very, very razor-thin round we just watched. Like, in terms of nice edge, each fight is impactful. We're not seeing a whole lot of one team dominating here. It's not a whole lot of, okay, well, look at the ult economy. This is over. It's done. We're seeing teams bend the rules, it feels like, in terms of how they're engaging, how they're flanking. Mono's hitting crazy pins and charges, which is insane. Are we even seeing a Reinhardt right now on this map with a composition that's... The concept is the same. It's May control on, on a small choke point oriented map, but the approach is so different with the comps are running. Now, I say that, though. I say that, and then Hangzhou Spark has just completely adopted New York's, their approach, their way.
Yeah, so just trying to beat them at their own game, and yet again, Mono destroyed at the start of the round. And that's going to be the chase forward. The wall comes up just to try and get everybody the heck out of there before Spark can poke and try to get some additional kills. Point getting ready to unlock now in 2 seconds. And Hangzhou Spark very much primed to go ahead and pick that up for themselves.
All right. They got the first cap. And that's so, in the mirror matchup especially, that's so important on control. Because now they can slow all of New York's attacks. They can ice wall it out. New York's going to go for a drop down here. They're going to go for a desperate fight.
Oh, Hotbot manages to find Mika. Follows up
He
for a
gets a
second.
double.
Accretion gets rid of Architect. And get more. Looks like Mono's going to be taking the reins now. Gets rid of Gushway. The cleanup starts coming through. Godsby only able to answer one, but now he's got the entire wrath of the NYXL after him, and Sapiobi nails him in the head for that. So
this
quick
is like
flip back in favor of NYXL.
It's like a sports anime or something, or like a comic book. Like, this can't even be real life, how insane this is. New York comes in, down one member, take the high ground, drop down, get that opening pick. Mono is playing insane. He's out of his mind right now on the Reinhardt. Still doesn't have that shatter. They've got high ground once again for this approach. Gonna be Coalescence for Bebe finally finishing. We're gonna see those traded in the fight.
Don't worry about the shatter. Gushway look at the drop that one. Does manage to find Hoxall. The pin comes in. The fire strike, however, gets rid of Jonak, and Gushway gets the counter pin onto Mono. And just like that, the pendulum swing is back into the favor of the Hangzhou Spark. They'll get the cleanup here on the NYXL, who still get to build up ultimates. They lose a Coalescence in that fight. But this is just Hangzhou taking the reins yet again. 25%. They are not far behind NYXL at all.
Gushway's shatter was pretty massive. He not only hits 2, I believe, but also knocks Jonak out of Coalescence. He gets the follow-up pin. And, yeah, I mean, we'll watch this shatter again, actually. Apt timing for this replay. Look at the angle here. He just knows that. Unfortunately for Mono, he's just way out of position.
Yep, then got the follow-up. Meanwhile, back into the action, Sapiobi for the Deadeye takes down 2. Godsby and Mika both going to be eliminated. Now Sapiobi himself eliminated as Architect finds the headshot with a right click. QQ pushing up forward into the faces of the NYXL members. Has to be careful. But now it seems like NYXL might have control of the point. It's still being contested for the time being. Mono gets taken to the ground there briefly. Will be okay in the long run for now. Hoxall falling low. Double kill from Mika, the right click boop. Takes out he and Mono in one fell swoop.
And let's not forget,
now rolling through, gets rid of Mandu. And Hotpa will fall, and Hangzhou Spark, they control the point still. 80% getting ready to come through.
Let's not forget, it's after the flux into the double kill from Sapiobi. They were down 2 members, still turned it around. Absolutely insane. They're able to win this with very few tools used. They've got the ult advantage.
Deadeye now out from Godsby. Just keeping them zoned back. 95%. Moving up, NYXL make their way to the point. They guarantee the OT. Wall comes up to try and cut off their sight lines. Flux coming through from QOQ, slams that back down. Godsby going to be the first one to fall as the healing orb comes out from Jonak. Freeze comes in onto Mika. They will go ahead and focus fire down the enemy Lucio, ensuring that he can't do anything. They get rid of him. Mandu will be eliminated as well, so a trade on those Lucios. Sapiobi, however, finds Architect. YXL fighting tooth and nail, trying to get the split back in their favor, but Guangzhou, he might be able to turn it all on its head if he can get this kill. Takes Mono off the point.
So smart!
Hammer manages to find two, but is that going to be enough? Mono comes back, pushes forward in behind him, manages to swing and take him down. So Guangzhou's heroics did not net anything here for Hangzhou Spark in the extended fight.
He pins him out. He pins him out and does the 180 shatter. He knows there's no way it can be blocked. No way. It's impossible. Such a smart play from a great main tank. He's got another one ready to go.
Well, unbelievable, but look at NYXL. They have so many ults right now in their favor. The Flux is going to be coming through first and foremost. Mono going to be slowed up, frozen. Sound barrier from Mandu keeps him alive. Bebe stunned out of his coalescence, I do believe. Shatter dropped, manages to find Godsby alone. They finish him off, and Sabiobia finds yet another kill with the Deadeye. Gets rid of Architect. And New York Excelsior, they're looking to finish this one off. They want the 2-0 here.
It might end.
They do not want to go to a final round. They do not want to see City Center.
This series might finally end. Huxall is going to have a Blizzard in the longer fight. Hangzhou Spark only have Gravitic Flux. They're going to have, if they can stall for it, they're going to have the Deadeye as well. They can try to pair those together. They can try to combo those. But New York has positional advantage. Here comes the Flux.
Flux is out, but
it's no good.
Anybody. The slam doesn't show any damage. They get the stun, and Sabiobia will be taken down off the high ground. That's a lot of pressure alleviated right now for the rest of the Hangzhou Spark. But is this going to be enough for them to get this flip and try and take the round? Architect gets rid of Mandu, so it seems like maybe it could happen. Godsby with a Deadeye gets rid of Hawks on the Fire Strike, takes down Mono. Jonak is going to fall. Sabiobia desperately tries to swap over onto the Tracer, but the flip is already through for the Hangzhou Spark. Just have to get rid of Hotba on that high ground. They solo Shatter to finish him off. OT will bleed away, and it is one final round. 100 to 99% on guard, and now City Center to decide
the last one.
all.
The last round. QOQ took that into his own hands. He went for the Flux. He doesn't find anything, but he gets on the high ground. He chases Sabiobia down, kills him, flips around. He's got the high ground control, nothing to worry about. There's no high ground McCree anymore, and Hangzhou Spark were able to sweep things up after that. Does a ton of damage from the high ground after a failed Flux. And they had almost no other tools. New York still falls apart after such a great start to the map. Incredible plays from Mono, the shatters back to back. And I think this is the best series we've had in Asia since the Seoul, Shanghai series, the final for the May Melee. I mean, this is about as close as you can get. It's high-level play. It's all sorts of composition. Speaking of all sorts, it's Huxall now coming on the Pharah like we predicted. This is where you're going to have a great time on Pharah. And Mika, an incredible Mercy in his own right in his debut match. He's coming in here and showcasing how strong he is. And he might be the reason why Hangzhou takes this series. Insane.
We'll have to see how he squares up against Architect. He already gets a one-body shot, can't follow up for the double tap to take Huxall out of the air and try and force a res. You can see just how up close and personal these Pharahs are playing with each other. It's all about predictability and being somewhat random in your movements. In the meantime, off screen, Jonek will manage to find a kill onto Guangzhou, but QOQ finds some revenge. Now Mandu going to be gone. That means that the pocket is gone here for Huxall. Architect dips down, out of line of sight from the opposing Pharah. Keeps himself safe, baby. Forced to use that bio nade to keep himself sustained. Sabiobia will not be able to pursue further to try to get that kill. Architect back into the air, looking to finish off Huxall, trying to line up the shots. He's barely missing these rockets. Time and time again, he's getting so close to nipping him and taking him straight out of the fight. The point's still not locked down by either team. Hangzhou Spark for the moment, the closer of the two. Pulse Bomb going to be lobbed in, but Sabiobia a bit off the mark with that one. Doesn't find anything. Little recall out, but Godsby with a Pulse Bomb of his own does find Jonak. Takes him down. Mandu tries to get the res, gets punished for that one as Godsby pursues forward. Appa will kill him off, but that's as good as it gets for now for NYXL. The point is Hangzhou Sparks.
It's Hangzhou Sparks entirely. Res is going to come through here onto Godsby. It's completely safe. Mika does, he's going to use a long cooldown for this, but otherwise he's going to make sure they guarantee at this point stays there for a while, and that's a huge mistake by Mono. He's just way too far out there. He didn't have a great escape path, but kind of showed himself too early, and that's a lot of free percentage to a team that already has the point control, has ult advantage. Soon to have a barrage a little bit faster than Huxall. They've got a nano boost they can pair with it. I mean, this is Hangzhou's round to lose right now. Their series to lose with the advantages they have.
So back and forth in that last round. Let's see if NYXL can get it done now. Huxall receiving the nano boost, nearly taken out, has to retreat. Architect pushing over, gets the double tap to finish off Mandu, now goes in with a barrage. Tries to get Hawksall out of the sky. Instead, it's going to be Mika who gets that job. But the res is there to bring Architect back into the fray. 60% getting ready to roll through for the Hangzhou Spark as they still have control of the point. NYXL have a decent war chest of ultimates to pull from, but they need to execute on these, and they need to do it very soon.
It always feels like the series is coming to a close, but it just doesn't. And I feel like New York, with the ults they have, the war chest you just mentioned, they're certainly in pole position to take it back. It's unfortunate they don't have the nano for Hawksall anymore, but they do have that barrage. Reg has to be used early here, but at least Hotfuzz can have an opportunity now to get on the point, and Primal need to be wary of the minefield that QOQ currently holds as well. He's going to use that to stop their approach.
Well, every time Architect takes a second shot after nailing one onto Hawksall, I have to hold my breath. Both Ana's going to be taken down, one by Minefield, one by a melee hit from an Angry Scientist. Hawksall takes yet another hit, looks for the follow-up, but Architect just can't quite weave those through. Yobi gets rid of Mika. Sure, that pocket's not going to be there. Hawksall dumping in with a barrage, doesn't find any kills, and Architect in the meantime gets rid of Mondu. Let's say Yobi will find the better of Godspeed, winning out the Tracer battle. Architect jumps back, still under fire, trying to retreat. Will finally be in line of sight of Bebe. Get top back up. It's 99% here for the Hangzhou Spark. NYXL need to flip this one through into their favor. They need to do it right here, right now, or else this series is gone. In map number 6, they've taken it this far. They do not want to go out like this.
Hawksall swapping over to Reaper. It's so desperate. It's so desperate here. Nano's out. They're barely alive.
Yeah, it goes onto Hotba. Jonak falling.
Oh, no, it's on the point!
They don't get on the point!
No way! No way! They were just getting it back!
The Winston, and they don't touch the point! They had all of the tools to try and extend the series, but they just don't make it there!
They had, as you say, they had every tool. The nano boost just barely comes online. Mono barely survives. They finally get the numbers advantage for the first time. And it just slips through their fingers. This series had everything. This series had literally everything you could ever want in an Overwatch series in regular season. I mean, I knew we were in for a pretty good series. I did not know we were in for the series, the sickest series. Wow.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. Actually, unbelievable finish to that set. I mean,
all of NYXL, by the way, we always have the lobby open. All of NYXL just like alt F4'd out of there as soon as...
They said GG. They said GG before they left.
They did. They did say GG, but they were like out of there.
I can't blame them. I think that we have all been there. You have one of those losses in a game where your mind just can't wrap your head around it, and you're just like, okay, I gotta walk away now. You know? Oh, good Lord. What a marathon.
Our region is pretty good. I feel like we're getting more viewers than ever. People are starting to realize, like, you know what? It might be worth staying up for the APAC games.
I mean, what else are you going to do tomorrow? There's COVID around. You got to stay inside.
Yeah, you can oversleep a few of those NA games tomorrow. They're not as good as what you just watched right now. Those who are awake now, they know. It was, I was there, I was awake for this. Yeah, I put them out there on Twitter because you saw this live, and everyone else who missed it is going to be so sad that they did not see that.
Try to avoid spoilers for those who were asleep or didn't get to watch.
I don't care about that. They missed it, man. It's their fault.
I do. They should get to go through, and and see this while it's still fresh. Give it a day. After a day, talk about all you want. But for now,
maybe they'll learn next time to stay up for the matches if they get spoiled. I know not everybody has the lifestyle that we do. Achilles and stays up all night and watches esports all day, but that was a great series. That it
was
actually got me really pumped. Like, it felt like it was not just a regular season game. That was insane. We should talk about our player of the match, by the way.
I was going to say, let's go into that. Our player of the match presented by Xfinity. I mean, we knew as soon as he pulled out the card for the first time that he had nailed it down as long as Hangzhou took the set. It is Architect. The guy played out of his mind for his re-debut now on this new squad of the Hangzhou Spark, reunited with Godspeed. The synergy between these two throughout was just phenomenal. Whether it was on the Widow Tracer, them constantly hounding the same target, making sure that they get that kill, or just him taking those guys on the Pharah. It was just beautiful play all the way through Spark.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I think the Google searches, the Google trends, you could search for how much something's been searched for. Like, the searches for X6 are probably going through the roof right now as everyone wants to go back and watch the glory days that we just told them about.
We hope.
I hope. Go check that out. Go look back.
Just don't watch the final.
Yeah, don't watch that final unless you want to watch BQB like do a lot of crazy stuff on Sombra. Then you'll know why we always said he was going to be good at Sombra, but then he wasn't in Overwatch League for some reason. But anyway. Let's not get too deep on that. Great series. Architect obviously got Player of the Match presented by Xfinity, but we do have to give an honorable mention to a lot of the players on Spark, like Mika, who played very, very well on his debut, and has already put himself in my mind as one of the stronger Mercies in the Asia region. We also have to give props to Mono, who had a rough start to the series, but at the end of things, like, was really turning things around. Didn't save NYXL in the end, but he had a great night of Overwatch. I believe I'm like, and I want to thank my mom, and also we gotta talk about
Drop your Instagram,
we gotta talk
drop
about
your Twitter in there.
QOQ and he was pretty sick too though, right? And it was his first time as well. And Mondu though, I mean, am I right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that barrage? Do you remember that shatter? Do you remember that blade?
I remember all of it, and it was phenomenal. It was a great series. Took a little bit of a dip in the middle, and then we just surged right back in for it being just super tight knit and just so much on the razor's edge. I was thinking about getting another cup of coffee to wake myself up. I didn't need to. The game did that for me. So just thank you to both of the teams. I know for NYXL it's a bittersweet loss, but the team still played extremely well. But thank you for just delivering such a wonderful series that we got to commentate and everybody got to enjoy watching, and will continue to enjoy watching as people wake up and check out the VODs and whatnot. But that's it for us here tonight, guys. It has been a long one. I gotta say as well, thank you to our crew back in the States who have been staying up all night to bring you the games. I think this is one of the longest days that we have had for the APAC region since we started doing things online, and I'm not helping it be any shorter by talking. But thank you guys.
Yeah, we gotta go, guys.
For being here alongside me. But that is it from us. We will see you for more games tomorrow for the APAC region. But of course, we have NA region coming up in several hours, so get ready for those as well.